Officially spicy. We are currently broadcasting. I am just making sure everything is looking good. Okay. Let's start from the beginning.
Very good place to start.
It's always a good place to start.
Oh no, we lost JJ.
Must not break into Sound of Music soundtrack. Must not sing.
That's what I was referencing, so don't resist on my account.
Okay, it looks like we're live. Beautiful, we are. That's good stuff. Welcome back, JJ. Okay. Alrighty.
JJ with a haircut? Am I making that up?
Say what?
I said JJ with a haircut. Am I making that up?
Oh no, I just have my hair pulled back.
Oh, okay. Well, it looks good on you.
Thank you.
Or behind you, I guess maybe it looks good. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I just have my hair pulled back and a headband on because I didn't feel like doing my hair.
Nobody knows if their hair looks good from behind. Nobody checks your hair from behind because, like,
there are certain positions
can't
you check
see it, so you go, "Do you know what?"
What what else is
I
a
never.
husband? What is a husband for if not to be like, hey honey, what do you?
Yeah, I never look at my hair because I'm like, I can't see back in my hair. It's not something I've got to deal with. That's everyone else's problem now. Front looks fine. Screw it.
According to Paul, he likes the way the back of your hair looks.
Yeah, man, I think whenever I'm in a position to check out the back of your hair, it looks great.
Thanks, love.
You're welcome.
Wholesome.
Cute that you think that was meant wholesomely, but yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wholesome. Wholesome.
Look, I'm juggling 8 things in the air. I don't have the ability to read subtext right now. It's my ADHD right now. My autism ADHD is literally like, I can only interpret your... Like, basically, you all might as well be typing in a chat to me
I'm having
for all the
base level,
nuance
I
I'm
am
getting.
doing all the functions.
Yes. I have suspended higher brain functions to stream.
I have a lot of tabs open right now. Leave me alone.
I think I may have to leave the call and restart my computer because for some reason I'm having a lot of tech issues.
Okay, no worries. Do what you gotta do.
I just realised I've said all that, and we're actually mics are live, aren't they?
Yes, love.
That's alright, they know.
Do what you gotta do,
My
JJ.
wife-
No worries.
My wife's hair
Yeah,
looks great
I'll
when
be
I'm hitting it from behind.
Let's see. Okay. Alright, and I'm just putting the last little touches on this so that I can make that count. There we go.
Omni's touching stuff. Ew.
So how's everybody doing? How are you all hanging in there? There we go. Welcome back, JJ. Never mind. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I was buying for time.
Damn.
Obviously
AJ backs
joking.
through all y'all.
Oh god, that was needlessly cruel. I'm joking, obviously. All
Well,
right.
now I'm terrible. Thanks for asking.
I was doing great, and then you spoke. All right. I
Doing some yarn-based witchcraft until start.
Excellent. Well, we're officially 8 minutes in, so I feel like it's the time where we can probably start right now, I would say. So, hello everybody. Hello everybody. I'm the Last Omnitech, your favorite robot American, and this is Unicorn Head Studios, our lovely little TTRPG actual play channel. You guys can find us here every other weekend running Legacy First Flight, and in the future, other games. Who knows? Almost always on Saturdays at this time slot. I hope you're all having a lovely day, and welcome to another session of Legacy First Flight, our fast and light tale in the world of tomorrow. And let's pop into the chat and see... Okay, we got a couple of viewers. Thanks. Nice to see you all on board. And All the cameras are popping on. Yes, everyone's here. No technical issues. Let's go. All right. On my end. No technical issues on my end. That's celebratory for me. So, who wants to do a quick recap of what happened last session? Oh, by the way, you guys all got 2 points of experience for last session. Those of you who were present. So, those of you who were not present.
I had a whole bit planned about how I was going to ask the most important question, and you just ruined it by answering it ahead of time.
Intercepted.
Being so smart.
I realized I didn't say that.
We all got 2 experience points last week. A fortnight passed. Anyway. The first thing I have in my notes from last time is the boom boom is happening. We discovered that something, I think from orbit, had hit the dry dock where our ship was being stored, sequestered, hanging out, and it blew up and was on fire. So we raced there, and we had to get through I think what was supposed to be a challenging encounter of Shrekish bad guys before we could get onto our ship.
All right, sassy pants. Damn.
As a mostly DM myself, I have been in the position of developing a serious encounter that I think is going to be super hard and challenging, and only to be whomped in a couple of turns. So, I liked being on the other end of that for once, frankly, but I also feel for you, Omni.
No, it's all right. Honestly, you guys had a great run of it.
It still lasted the whole session.
It did. I mean, it was a shorter session. It was not a shorter session, but it was a more compact session, so it worked. But yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, honestly, it was also just really satisfying to see you go to work. It's very... I'm of a mixed mind, you know? I'm a GM. I'm not just a GM, I'm also a tabletop, I actually make this game. So, seeing someone just utterly pick it up and break it like a chair over somebody's back is very satisfying. I like that. So.
Which is the greatest definition of exactly what Claxton did.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Moshing through everybody.
In both Claxton
Not in
and...
4K.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I hacked some things. I did stuff.
Both Claxton and Zenith noticed the Imperial logo on their arms.
Yes. The adversaries that our players encountered last session weren't just random folks engaging in a mild terroristic attack. And by mild, I mean several thousand dead. But actually, they appear to be from the Imperial, which you guys have been slowly dancing around as a threat for quite some time.
I mean, we tell everybody we meet, like, hey, something's coming.
Well, it appears that finally it's arrived. In addition, also by the way, Claxon, you get a point of experience, or you get yourself a motive legacy. Same thing goes for Bon and for Zenith as well. So Lolly, you get one as well. JJ, did you have anything you wanted to add to last session?
Let's see. Nope, I think they covered pretty much everything. Because I just have in my notes, Claxton can sense the big boom. and then a whole bunch of other stuff about, I can see that people on the bottom levels of the ships were like trying to leave. Like it basically became like a crisis zone. So a lot of the government officials or whatever, whoever their I guess police body is or whoever, were like evacuating people, getting people to safety, stuff like that. The structure was basically like crumbling. There was a fire that was working its way up, and then at the end of my I have all about that we recognize the symbols, that they're from the terrorist group that we've basically been trying to find this whole time. And then I have in my notes, Claxon mollywops and drags all 4 of the bad guys we can see. The door to the ship opens, the 5th person runs away. So yeah, I think everything was pretty much covered. And then I left after that, so what else happened at the end.
And I did
So we did also manage to do some really good Scrounging probably isn't the word I want, but it's the word that's in my
Looting.
brain, so I'll have that for now.
Definitely
Looting,
looting.
yes.
Yeah, you guys definitely went full looting.
Happened
Yeah.
really well.
Okay.
In fact, well enough to the point of Klaxon went, let's just not loot this body. Let's just take the entire body indoors and loot it at our leisure.
Let's
When
loot
we're
the
not
body.
in a burning building. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And we did some investigation of the lootage and checked the ship over for all these sort of bugs and bits and bobs.
Yeah.
And Klaxon met with Gentry over the comms.
Yes, I believe that is
Yes.
correct.
We had a conversation. We also, to Lolly's point about us investigating, we also discovered that in the helmet was playing the Anazali Song of War,
Yeah.
and the thing that I noted about that was that it hasn't sounded a retreat, even though somebody ran away. It was still saying
It's
advance,
still
advance,
saying
advance. Yes. And then when I talked to Gentry, he said that the Parliament was pissed. They're blaming this attack on the Kaminotians. The Evanti have been spoiling for war, or are spoiling for war, and they're abandoning the Accordists, who are trying to get everybody to get along. And so we are. I used the phrase "false flag," which may actually have been the wrong thing to do, but it seems like this attack happened from the Anazali, or sorry, from the Imperial, and somebody is using it as an excuse to blame it on the Kaminotians, who, as far as we have,
Or vice versa, the Imperial are using that as their cover or something.
right.
Yeah.
There's something ain't right.
And
There's some
Gentry agreed
bullshit
to Klaxon's
happening.
assessment, and we were gonna send over information, like everything we'd learned.
Yes,
Yes.
that is correct. All right, yeah, that is literally everything that you guys could have done. So that's perfect. I'm gonna extend it. Everybody, get yourself an extra mode of
Yeah.
legacy today. You all are awesome, including the folks who weren't here last time. I love you all.
Do I gotta roll
I say
chapter
it.
tomorrow now?
Just
You did roll child tomorrow.
Because a note.
Hmm?
Because a note was that Louis, in amongst all the stuff kicking off, ran off to go check on the mech suit and go get the mech
Yeah.
suit.
Yes.
Where they went.
Yeah, Louis actually deployed in the mech, and then I'm going to say, for your benefit, Paul, while all this crazy shit was happening at the dock, you were actually holding the ground over at the wheel, which is sort of the large, like, government building. Think of it as, like, their parliament building. It's their Old Bailey. So, you were standing there along with a bunch of other avatars, basically securing the perimeter and helping folks evacuate from the burning docks, as well as making sure if any attacks did happen at the wheel, there was one more mech ready to defend it. For what it's worth, there were no attacks that occurred on the wheel, but there was an assload of refugees and folks fleeing the damage. Literally, the casualties are up in the thousands. It is a major attack, and to put it in perspective, that's when I say casualties, I'm referring to specifically severely injured or dead. That is not counting the tens of thousands of people who had to flee with minor injuries or just in fear. So it was a big deal. You were up to your gills with work.
That's how we know you're not a politician, because if you were a politician, you would be lumping everybody into casualties that you could in order to drum up support for your rebuilding and warmongering. So.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah, no. And for the record, I believe, given the knowledge you have, the term false flag would be accurate. I realize that in U.S. politics that is a dangerous word to throw about because it is so liberally and ruthlessly used. But we are not talking about U.S. politics. We are talking about space politics. So I don't really have as much of an issue in this particular instance with using the term.
It's a red herring.
Yeah, pretty much. Someone is trying to throw someone else under the bus, though you're not entirely sure the full scope of it. So...
In this case, the bus is a 2-kilometer-long spacecraft.
Yes. All right, then. So, with that, we're going to pick up where we left off. So... Our crew is now back in orbit. You guys managed to actually get the ship to escape. Thank God. I'm going to also say that Louis was able to exfiltrate as well with you guys. Perks of being perks of you guys being able to literally fly or hover and boost around. I see your roll bomb.
Yeah, I was pissed.
It's a 7. I'm sorry, but it's they can't always be winners. It's a powerful perk. So did you roll your luck die? It's an attribute die. So,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Really, please, you rolled that luck die. What would you have done without it?
Yeah. At least you
It's
know.
that kind of day, though. Like, I already knew.
I'm sorry, love.
It's okay.
So then, at the moment, Louis, you've managed to get you on board the ship. I figure at this point you're just finishing disengaging Meki and getting her all set up. Klaxon, you're coming in from the exterior of the ship after doing your spacewalk and finding no tracking devices or anything that's been placed on the ship, as far as you can tell. And likewise, everyone else who was present, you have basically scoured your ship systems. They didn't get on board, as far as you can tell. And anyone who did get on board left nothing. Because literally, your entire crew can't find shit. Including not one, but 2 powerful AIs, as well as also 2 technicians with incredibly high engineering. So, yes, your ship is clean. I can pretty thoroughly vouch for that. Finally, JJ, at the end of last session, Amaya was popping into I figure, Amaya, you were giving a quick brief to Orin, like a rundown of what just happened on the world. I'm going to say that Orin was not able to actually pick up. He was busy with something. You were able to leave that as a message, but it was so much shit that basically you had info dump. It took you that period of time. So, at this point, you guys are now hovering in orbit above the world of Evanti Prime. From orbit, you can see a little bit of smoke coming out of where you presume the actual city is. The tower was kilometers tall. Its burning will definitely cast a smoke cloud kilometers long. And even from at this orbital height, you can see it stretching over part of the planet. Also a recap, just to let you know, I don't believe they asked if you were willing to go back to the planet to testify at some point, but they definitely were at least happy to have all your data. It's up to you guys what you want to do now.
Yeah.
I
think
it
we'd
to you.
agreed to say, look, we will share our data and the information we've got, so you guys aren't pinning this on the wrong people and starting, war incorrectly.
Yeah. And if that does involve testifying in person at some point, I think we should at least consider it, because we the last thing we want to do is have hostilities escalate in this system that's already on a razor's edge.
In a system that we're meant to be helping to calm down.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, who are you sending it to specifically then?
Oh, weren't we doing it to Gentry? And
I'm just clarifying.
Okay,
I just want to know specifically, while everyone is here, who are you guys sending this data to? Because right now you have 2 contacts in the Evanti, Gentry and Sarah. Those are your 2 figures that you know for a fact and have interacted with for a fact.
Yeah, I say that we send it to both. That way the Prime Minister can know what's happening, and Gentry, that way they can both work together. Words.
Plus, it means that, because if we just sent it to the Prime Minister, who I think, if I recall correctly, things are kind of falling apart in terms of the government at that moment. So people might be like, oh yeah, you're just saying this because you don't want this to fall apart. At least we give it to Gentry as well. It's like, no, he also has this information. This is not just her saying it,
Yeah.
Cover all bases.
Can we just send it to the whole planet?
right, like that would have been. That was my first thing.
So
That feels unsafe.
I'm gonna say, if anyone really wants to do that, please feel free to make me an intelligence roll.
Oh no.
Just an intellect roll. Standard intellect roll.
Wait.
Standard intellect roll. If you have...
Wait. For...
This is just to entertain this idea. This is a common sense roll, basically.
I'm sending it to everyone. Yeah, I'm not rolling for that.
That's fair.
Like,
Uh,
I'm not willing to do that. We're rolling because it's fun to
welcome.
roll dice and we like it, but oh my god, Loki.
Okay.
It's
Good
a dog.
news. Good news. Good news.
Are you asking for that roll to actually try to do it, or to decide if it's a good idea?
To decide if this is a good idea.
I see. So I want to show you this before I do. So I rolled a 1 on my D4 for intellect, but I rolled a 6 on my D6 for luck. So my
Okay.
luck die explodes,
Yep.
Yes.
and explodes again.
Oh my god.
Let's go.
So my my total roll there is 16.
Nice.
Can I just say,
I mean,
it's
Maybe not nice.
it's so funny to me that out of everybody, Klaxon is the one who brings the sweet baby doggo.
Well, he does warfare. He's a shrike.
Exactly. Everyone, no one here rolled low enough to not realize that broadcasting sensitive data like this to the whole planet is probably a bad idea. Like, there's definitely not going to be good repercussions for that, for many different reasons. Klaxon, you put it together the most saliently and easily. Like, you immediately figure out why this is such a terrible idea. One, you're from a world, specifically, with multiple warring factions already. The Shrike Ascendancy is in a constant state of internal war. It doesn't have political parties, it has usurping kingdoms. That is its entire function. And so as a result, you're used to constant political warfare back and forth, in addition to literal warfare. Situations like this, if you were to just dump this kind of sensitive information broadly, one, it would be immediately discounted, possibly, as false, or as some kind of propaganda campaign by whoever folks don't want it to be. So it'd basically be used immediately to discredit people that they don't like, or to undermine the existence of it at all, because who would be crazy enough to dump this kind of information in public? That's one. Two, it can be used as a cudgel by anyone who's attempting to manipulate politics in their direction. So, if anyone's trying to usurp anybody, a bunch of data popping into their lap going, actually, this is what happened, will raise a bunch of questions. So why does this random person that we've never met know this, but not our government? And finally, three, in the wake of an immediate crisis, controlling information is usually done not just out of malevolence, but also to prevent public panic. And as it is, the largest building on the planet is currently in flames. It is already panic. So you dump that this was a possible false flag attack by an ancient Anazali empire? Yeah,
I mean, we
you'll
also-
have much bigger issues to worry about than the Evanti not getting along. You'll be lucky if the planet doesn't burn itself down in panic.
We also run the risk of them escalating their plans or moving up the timetable with our enemies.
Precisely. That's the final big concern. The Imperial has been dead silent to you guys. You have encountered, like, one or two incidences which maybe they were involved in, but up until now, besides your initial meeting of one of them on the first world you came from, there's not really been any sign of them doing anything overt. If they've done this attack, an attack on this scale, or perpetrated it, it implies they have started to set plans in motion. If you fuck with that plan without knowing what they're doing, they might riff on it and make it significantly worse, which could make all your leads pointless, and more importantly, cast the entire sector into danger. So, delicate political situations all around. And all of this pops through Klaxon into your head through the frame of so many wars that the Shrike have been through. Like, this isn't, oh, this is theoretical political science. No, for the Shrike, it's practical political history. You've seen all this shit happen in various forms repeatedly, and it still happens to this day. So, anyway, that's my long and short of, probably shouldn't broadcast this to the whole, like, planet, which would then go to the whole Union, which would then, bad. Also, you'd be the ones who'd be broadcasting it. And I believe I recall you all would be the ones who were trying to lie low. So, anyway.
So Klaxon knows that my above table suggestion was ridiculous. Thanks for second guessing me, buddy.
For the record, I love any idea you guys have. I will not stop you from doing anything. But I do realize this is a game without a core world book to read from. So, I just want to give you guys a political context. If you do that, just be aware, those are the ramifications you're looking at. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying those are the dice you're going to be rolling.
That stupid thing if you want to. I won't stop you from doing the stupid thing. What? Focus on the words I'm saying there.
Words stupid thing are key.
Look, I'm just saying tabletop role-playing games are built around people doing crazy shit, okay? Sometimes that works.
There's crazy shit. Then there's, eating the beans in the middle of the cave, Paul.
Alright, so
DM trauma.
I leave you all in your ship. What do you all do in the aftermath of this chaotic nightmare event?
Did you say... Okay.
Hmm?
So the information that we sent was basically just like, hey, we encountered these terrorists. They're the reason for why everything's going crazy, blah, blah, blah. Right?
I presume that's what you sent to Gentry. Gentry has... I can at least tell you all, also, since not everyone was there, I think only 2-3 people were still there, because I think there's Bon, KO, and Lolly who were still there at the end of the session. Gentry has communicated back the following. You guys were the only ones who encountered members of the Imperial. You're the only ones. Everyone else that was encountered was Common Ocean. And from what they can tell, actually really were Common Ocean. They were from a specific world nearby that was struggling with integrating into the Evanti. And so they launched an attack with JSA weapons that appear to be JSA weapons. So you're the only ones that made any contact with any Imperial forces, and that was for Shrike.
Okay.
So he clarified that, and I believe you sent the scan data of the bodies you acquired, as well as also, I presume, we haven't had anyone, write down their accounts or take verbal accounts yet, but I presume, Amaya, you sent your account. So...
Yeah, okay.
So Gentry knows what you guys saw, as well as also probably your camera feeds from the outside of your ship and your atmosphere. So...
Okay. Did anybody inspect the bodies for any type of communication devices, anything that we could garner, any comms or anything like that?
Yeah.
Just to see if we can unravel any plans or somebody who they were talking to, etc., something like that.
That's how we got the helmet.
We had the song.
Yeah.
I'll say we had the Song of War thing that was found. That looks like it's that was words. Alright, find the correct words. So there was a repeating message inside, going through the speakers inside the helmet, which is the Anazai technique of the Song of War, which is from our description, beautifully complex. It takes the whole concept of war drums saying forwards, backwards, to just this massive, detailed, glorious orchestral level. So it shows that the Strike were listening to that, and it was still running even though the fight stopped. It was still saying advance. So there's this theory of, okay, who else is having this advance command going out to them?
Right. Okay.
Although I think something we didn't talk about, which would be worth having a Maya look into, is can we figure out from their receivers where this signal is coming from?
Yeah.
Theoretically, I would say that would require a engineering roll and probably a negotiation roll combined. Whoever wants to make those independent rolls, please feel free to let me know. Nominate yourselves right now.
I mean, I've been rolling poorly, but...
or can we I'm sorry, I'm not, my thoughts aren't super coherent, but can we hack into that network somehow, or like figure out how to interpret the song to give us more specific information, like where specific unit, where other units might be. Like, is there any way we can decode the song, essentially?
Okay, so I would say these would all be things that are going to require an engineering role to assess your capacity for doing this. I will say at very least, given the way interstellar communications work in Legacy, it's quantum entanglement. So it's not like where there's a transmitted beam or like a message that you can track. Instead, your best bet is to try to find like quantum entanglement communicators across the galaxy that use that exact same pattern. It's difficult to do, but theoretically you can find it out if you have the right back channels. And it's not like you can directly trace it usually, but also you don't know if this uses quantum entanglement communication like a lot of things do. It might use some other esoteric means. So honestly, you're not really sure. This technology is totally new to you. As I said, it's Imperial technology, but it uses modern tech to achieve its goals, as opposed to Anazali technology. So it's kind of like if you stumbled across, like if we stumbled across a non-contacted, like, Stone Age tribe in the Amazon, and found out that they had, using bamboo and gunpowder, replicated a Gatling gun. Like, it's basically the equivalent of what we're talking about here, where modern species are using modern technology to achieve what would be relic-level advancements. Which have never been explained by the Anazali, by the way, precisely for this fear of someone accidentally making, you know, the worst thing ever.
So Becky.
Yeah.
Can you, I don't want to say summon, but can you go grab, Dylan Ray?
Go grab him.
You can summon him! Can you please, request his presence, I guess? I think, if we're gonna try to go ahead and decode, this, it might be good to have his input. He may be able to help with that.
Becky will not.
And then,
Zenith helping.
Yeah.
Yes, Zenith as well. I'm gonna make a negotiation roll on me.
Okay.
Because basically, what I'm trying to do is just figure out, okay, if this is still going, like, what's the plan? What was the plan? What's the best route to kind of figure that out? That's why I was seeing if they had, like, any type of, like, other comms, like, or do they have, like, a chat that's like, hey, we're gonna attack everybody at 12 p.m.
So,
they get burgers.
You know?
Given what you guys know about how their communication systems work, that's precisely the function of the Song of War. The Song of War is a super information dense communication system that uses music patterns to communicate directly to individuals, and it is specifically synced to that individual's brain patterns. So it'd be very difficult to interpret, but it's possible. So if there's other communication systems they're using, that's a shrug. These guys are using modern tech. It's possible they have something besides that helmet. So let's take a look at what we have.
I'm gonna re-roll that because that was some booty.
Can I add any help at all if I'm helping with this?
I will make you select whether to help Becky or whether to help Amaya.
Where do you guys want me to help?
Let's. Can we wait until JJ? Yeah, we roll. Yeah.
My roll's literally the exact same as some ass.
So maybe help Amaya.
Chat, just to let you all know, Amaya just rolled a natural 1 and then a 3, and then proceeded to roll on a reroll a 3 and a 3. So, before mods.
And it still all comes out to 6. Chat, this is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, they are complicated, and we're still stumbling through, like, how many people died? This is the second time.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I gave, like, at last count, about, like, at least 2,000 dead.
Right.
And they basically were, like, and that's not counting Merildyne.
Yeah.
And they were, like, just estimating that that's gonna double as they're digging through the rubble. So, like... And that's not counting anyone off-world who was in that structure either. That's completely discounting all the crews of all the ships that were destroyed in the initial attack. So, like... And each ship can have, like, hundreds of crew. So, yeah.
And I got down, there was 12 to 30 ships definitely gone at that last
Yep.
interaction.
Yeah, so now that we're done being relieved, we survived combat and being cocky about it, now we're like, oh, people are dead.
So sorry, if this isn't a go. So when you're helping somebody do a roll, do you have to be rolling the same attribute discipline?
Normally I would say yes, unless you can give me a good, very good argument for why you're rolling something different to support. Which is fine, that can happen. But it needs to have a
If
good
I was
reason.
helping Amaya out, would I not potentially be rolling more based on hacking in that sense of what she's trying to do, where she's trying to kind of follow the line of it? What is a better word?
Would that be mine, because engineering?
Well,
I'm confused.
so, okay, you guys are tackling this from two different angles, basically. So, Amaya, you're following up on the political route, trying to find out where quantum entanglement communications frequencies of this kind are used. Which is kind of like asking, hey, governments of the UN, what radio frequencies do you use for warfare? It's kind of very sensitive data.
Well known for sharing that sort of information.
Precisely. So it's having to go through like back
page
channels.
one of their website.
The reason I
Yeah.
ask is because I actually willpower is not terrible, and I have a +1 in negotiation. And I also, and I'll ask you, Omni, if this applies, if you would think this would apply, but I have a +1 proficiency in military history.
That would absolutely apply to this.
Okay.
So
Yeah, take him. I'll help Becky.
Does that add on with the negotiation +1, or is that?
So the way that this works is when you're doing combined rolling, when you're doing assisted rolls, the first person rolls their base roll, whatever that is. And, you know, whatever they are after mods, and they calculate it out. You then roll your roll, whatever it is after modifiers are applied, take it and divide it by 2 and add it. And for every person who assists beyond that, you divide the result again and again until like someone's going to a 4th to an 8th to a 16th.
Okay.
So
But I get to add both negotiation and military history to
You
my
do.
willpower roll.
absolutely
Okay.
you do.
So I have a D10 in willpower, which isn't terrible.
Right?
And well, I only rolled a 3 on the D10, but I rolled a 5 on my luck die, so that's 5 plus 1 plus 1 is 7, so half is 3.
Round up because you're a
I
player
guess round up.
character.
Oh, well, then 4.
Yep.
So
Okay, cool. So that's a 7
That's good.
so far.
takes. Well, shit. No, Maya gets a 6, right? Total.
Oh, 6, that's
roll
right.
is 3.
6, 7,
So
13.
we're at a 10.
Yes. 10? Yes, you are. 6 plus 7.
Yeah,
No, that's 13.
You have 7 rounded up.
You said I had to.
four
You
for
said
now.
I had to divide my roll in half, right?
You did. My mind's like
So,
jumping
you
from the
said it
room.
like a very long time
Yes,
ago. I mean,
you're
we
correct,
need to
you're
take
correct.
cameras, I mean,
You got a 10. You got a 10 total. Thank you.
The amusing thing is that whether I was helping Amaya or Amaya was helping Klaxon, it would be a 10 either way. So
It would be.
together we are 10.
math.
That's fair. So you guys rolled a collective 10. And now...
Hey.
Numbers! Ah! Becky and Zenith, do you want to make your engineering rolls? Or engineering and hacking? Who's rolling first? Who's supporting the other?
I have a +5 in engineering and a D20. But I've been rolling poorly,
Yeah.
so...
If I do round down hacking, I've got a D12 for my intellect roll and then a 5 in my hacking, so
Nominate who's leading.
yeah.
You wanna flip a coin?
Yeah, go on.
Alright.
Go on. I'll go. Okay,
Alright.
so roll my hacking first. Will I be able to argue adding? I've got knowledge of the Azali Imperial and I've got espionage as well.
Absolutely. These are both highly relevant to what you're rolling.
Good. We might need it. I'll roll. Got an 11 on the D12 there. So 11 plus the hacking of 5, so that's 14, 15, 16, 17.
Let's
I need
go.
the help.
You
Flying
nominated.
things!
You nominated to roll,
Alright.
and I will say every point helps. It might be the difference between succeeding and wildly succeeding. So,
what's... Still rounding up, or...
yes, rounding up.
Okay, so... Then
So that'd be a 7,
Yeah.
I believe. So a 7 plus, you said 15, I think, is what it was?
17.
17. Oh, Jesus. 24. So a 24 and a 10. All right. So, I can give you guys the following. We'll start with the wildly successful side of things, because this is technically what had to happen first before you guys could negotiate for finding this stuff out. Becky, Zenith, you have to basically disassemble the helmet and isolate the frequency. It's a two-part step. Becky, you actually have to disassemble the thing mechanically and see how it works, roughly. With Zenith's help, you're able to break down the waveform of the transmission. The thing with the Song of War that makes it so good in battle is that it's insanely information dense. Most methods of transmission, a couple gigabytes per second, maybe, terabytes per second even. This can send yottabytes of data. It's meant to literally inform planets worth of personnel and directly to their mind, all at once. So, to say it's information dense is wrong. It could kill you if it's not properly modulated. So, as you're pouring through it, you're able to identify specifically the frequencies that are used for these folks with all the background data that even with your incredibly good roll, Zenith, is still hard to parse just for its sheer volume. What you can tell is this. This Song of War was localized. It was designed specifically to be utilized for this crew of zero-out personnel. But you do learn that. You learn the name of what these folks are. It contains their mission, and it also contains what they would be identified as. First off, you can absolutely confirm the people you were fighting were Anazali Imperial. Specifically, Imperial Resurgent would be the term that we use because that's the modern movement. And the proper term they would use to describe their type of, soldiering is a zero-out team. From what you can tell, their objective is infiltration, and in this particular instance, scuttling. They were hoping to get into your ship, try to steal something within it, probably kill anyone in their way, and also blow up the ship afterward, leaving no trace. Now, the song doesn't detail what they wanted you to steal, but they made it what they were going to steal, but it makes it very clear that they had an objective they were going to target. Unfortunately, because the way the song works, the song implies an idea of what that is. And the only way to find out what that idea was, what that intuitive, this is the thing I need to grab is, would be to, use the brainwaves of the person it's made for to reference. The brainwaves you splattered all over the deck repeatedly. So...
This is the one I punched in the chest, so we still have a brain.
That is true, but he's also very dead. So, in this case...
I could play with brains.
Just electrocute him! Electrocute him!
This requires a thinking, cognizant mind to reverse engineer the specifics, is my point. And you only have a lot of very thoroughly killed corpses. Very well done, by the way. So, in this particular instance, you can't figure out exactly what it was you wanted them, what they were going to be stealing. However, this is a localized combat team. These zero-out teams, from what you can tell, specifically based on the protocols they operate off of, they are made to be extremely professional. They have been given very distinctive orders on how to move and how to operate, and have even been told specifically where to acquire weapons. Because it appears that they came here before they were armed. They actually weren't on the ship that crashed. They were on the planet already waiting. They picked up their equipment from a dead drop on the planet before the attack started. And they used the cover of the attack to get into the building. So they actually had nothing, or I should say, I don't want to say they had nothing to do with it. They knew the attack was coming. They used it as cover to perform their operations. They also had a very clear rule. If they were observed, kill whoever saw them. Ideally, don't be observed in the first place. A trail of bodies can be traced. These guys are very professional. Finally, the last little detail. The Song of War also had a secondary effect applied specifically to them. It suppressed fear reactions. They were literally ordered to walk into a burning building. They did it with zero issue. This likely suppressed all their lower functions and fear reactions. They were basically goaded on electrochemically. to achieve their objective. So, that, however, all that fun little stuff said, it was a local broadcast, but it was sent from somewhere. The Song of War was uploaded from somewhere. And even up until the point of termination, it was being synced. It no longer is. So, just to let you know, that window's closed to you. But, you know for a fact that it was being broadcast by a quantum entanglement communicator. So you have the exact frequency of what type of quantum entanglement communicator is being used. It doesn't look very common, so it could be a custom job, but that might make it easier to narrow it down. So all this data you can pass on to Amaya and to Klaxon. You two, on the other hand, have a slightly harder time of it. It's a big ask, but it's achievable. Amaya, I'm going to ask you something. Have you rolled your mediator die with that? With your roll?
No.
Roll your mediator die, because it does count as negotiation. So you absolutely would get it.
Oh.
And I'll let you roll it twice, and you can choose whichever one you want. I think you're going to choose that one. That's a 6?
Exploded!
That explodes?
It's a 10!
So what was your total roll of a 10? Now it's a 20.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
So remember the way I said that was difficult? That just got a lot easier.
Yay.
Okay. So, at first, you have a hard time, because you basically touch base with a couple of your back channels. Specifically, Amaya, I figure you have a couple of negotiator back channels back through the Orname homeworld, as well as also, I would say you have them through Barreldyne. So, like, and Barreldyne's in the Evanti Sector, by the way. It's technically in the Free March, but it's there. So you have a couple of, like, across the sector connections. And Klaxon, you have connections back home. You, after all, you know, you're a soldier. You might not be able to, like, hang out with the highest levels of your government anymore, but you sure as hell can at least call in, like, hey guys, do you know who's using this type of tech? Anybody we've been fighting, or anybody you've been fighting? Or you, maybe? And they can probably tell you in confidence over the equivalent of a digital beer. But, at first, none of those doors work. Not because they're not willing. In fact, actually, most of your contacts are pretty willing to, like, try. They're willing to give a shot at it. But unfortunately, none of them are using these frequencies. As far as you can tell, like, nobody is. It's not standard issue anywhere. But then you have a unique person in the sector who can help you out. So, not too long ago, you went to go see a certain Horak Skorath Akatali,
Oh my god.
the leader of the JSA and the sector. And Horak actually is able to do a little digging on your behalf. Only, like, it takes about a day. And they actually say that they know why no one's using these communicators. Because they were custom ordered. They're only one of a kind. The only reason he knows about them is because that custom order went through the JSA and through a subsidiary of the JSA, specifically. So he has that back order. Bad news? It was purchased literally with the equivalent of cash. They didn't trade in actual, like, current. They traded in raw materials. Literal, like, tons of semiconductor materials and precious metals. Which is nuts. Most people don't trade that way. They trade with actual money. But these guys traded with the physical material and had them equate it to current value at the time. So that's one. Two, they only ordered once. But they ordered in huge volume. Like, several million quantum entanglement communicators.
Wow.
In bulk. Most folks don't even have more than, like, most starships have one quantum entanglement communicator system. These guys ordered millions.
Since we know the frequency, can we engineer a... What's the word? Because when two frequencies meet, they can cancel each other out, but it's, like, neutral.
Oh, like, the cancellation system.
Yeah.
So quantum entanglement doesn't quite work like that.
Okay.
But what you can do is theoretically increase the error rate, which would make uploading slower. It would take a lot though, and it would also depend on you having it on at the exact moment they're broadcasting.
Dang it.
Theoretically, it's possible if you can get to one of their quantum entanglement communicators and use it on them, but tough to say. So
It's alright, a bullet's quicker.
theoretically, yes. Now that said, now that you know about this frequency, though, theoretically, with enough time and money and resources, you might be able to create a tap. This frequency is so unique and specific, at very least you might be able to find out how frequently it's being used, and if you roll a particularly, good roll, and you spend an assload of money making an intercept system, you might even be able to listen in occasionally. I can't promise on all of them, but, if you get lucky, you might even be able to intercept an actual transmission.
Can we have Dylan Ray make one?
Assuming he's willing or even has plans.
You can certainly ask.
Becky, be nice to him and ask.
It's like, Becky, please. Zenith is also there.
How much is a lot? How much money?
I said
is a
ask
lot?
nicely. I feel like Zena will be like, do it now!
Repeat that one more time for me, Paul, because that was a relevant question.
How much money is a lot of money?
That's a great
I want to be
question.
offended, but that's accurate.
Like 5 money? I think 5 money is a lot of money.
5 money.
That money sounds very reasonable.
Yeah, I think it's spot on. Yeah.
If you were able to build a system like this, it would not be the sort of thing you could carry around. It would have to be actually built as part of a base. It would be the equivalent of a starship module.
We gotta get a base.
So, you technically already have one, which is your starship, but you don't have... It's already kind of getting to the... You've kind of squeezed it to the gills with systems. You technically have 2 more spaces on it that you could use. Let me just quickly pop you guys over to that, because it's...
So right now we're living #interstellar van life.
Pretty much, yeah.
But now we need a interstellar tiny house.
Yeah, exactly. You guys technically do have the right to settle in the sector. You do have a writ of settlement given to you by the Union. It's part of your... I believe it's actually in your... I think it's in your actual,
My contract.
We can
Yeah,
use
it's
it
in your
as
contract.
bait, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you guys actually have it in your loot pool. If you were to open that up, it's in your loot pool. That you
Funny,
actually have a writ.
I have mark of settlement on my character sheet. I had no idea what that meant. So.
Yes. So your mark of settlement literally means you have a 10 million current establishment stipend to build yourselves either an orbital or a planetary base or bunker of some sort.
Talking about it.
Yeah, you guys just never did it. But it's still sitting there. In fairness, you never found a world you were initially going to settle on, so kind of got delayed by meeting all the folks in the sector. But if you were to build a base, which would take a fair bit, it would cost money, but again, you have 10 million current as a stipend, I'd be willing to say, if you want to build this, 5 million current.
Ooh.
You are basically creating a supercomputer so powerful that it can hack through yottabytes of data in an instant on a transmission whose frequency and time you're not certain of. You are basically inventing a deep think level machine specifically to listen in on someone. This is the equivalent of, this is like, to put in perspective, you would need to build a structure and an institution to do this. This is the equivalent of code breaking the Enigma machine during World War II. That's the level of involvement here.
So slightly more than 5 then.
Slightly more. It's doable by you guys, but it is more of a long-term project than a short-term. You would have to start laying that out.
I think Zenith and Becky should go play, good cop, bad cop with Ray, and
Does he?
because I feel like Becky, golden retriever that she is, will go and ask nicely, and I feel like Zenith, girl boss that she is, will just be like, "You're gonna do it now. You don't have a choice, so just do it."
Go do the thing.
Yeah, go do the thing now.
Well, Becky would be like, whoa, 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 whoa.
I don't know who he would react better
Fine,
to.
go to the thing, please.
Yes. There you go. You know? So I feel like they should.
You say, please, your coffee maker?
They should work. Yeah,
Becky
you see,
would
they should
literally
work
would. Yeah, she'd
together.
be like, thank you.
Yeah, they should work together to try to convince him to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
Alright.
assuming that we had like a discussion plan after we got through all that data and we actually were successful.
Yes. And then if Claxon would like to come with me, I would like to contact Horak to figure out more about this fire. Because I feel like if this is something that's going through and this is an order that you're not used to kind of having, that would be like, you as the business person would be like, I'm kind of interested in what's going on here. Like, I don't see how that type of custom order could go through and not raise any flags or curiosity with anyone.
Yeah, that should be a red flag
No.
factory.
Yeah. Like, that should be like, oh, what they trying to do over here? What you got going on?
People only use like half a dozen of these. We want millions. And
Yeah.
we're not going to pay you in money. We're going to pay you in gold ore.
Yeah, I feel like he got some more info on that.
I
Invite
didn't-
him to dinner first. Invite him to dinner first. CEOs love that.
I didn't even think about it in that perspective, but this really is the equivalent of showing up to like a fucking mall and being like, "Oh yes, I'll pay for this in in Spanish gold doubloons," right? Like,
Yeah, like, who are you?
Even if it's raw materials, like it's literally, like lithium ore or something. Like, oh yeah, we got
Yeah.
or maybe copper wire, right? Rolling
neodymium.
up-
They paid primarily in like insane amounts of neodymium, which is rare earth metal, which is really hard to acquire in
You'd
bulk.
be like, hey, I kind of want to know that source.
This is me
Yeah.
rolling up to Spencer's. Like, okay, I want 100,000 custom engraved flasks that
Yeah.
say meat
Look,
sweat.
I really want
420
a
on
lot of
them.
mouse pads, okay, with this one sentence on it. Don't ask questions. Here's some silver. Don't
Yeah.
ask questions.
And here is all the copper wire that I stripped out of the Empire State Building to pay for it.
I'm paying it with
Where did you
Elvis's
get
toupee.
this? Look, I
Yeah.
won't ask where you
Right,
get the
like-
mouse pads from. You don't ask where I get this from.
Yeah,
Let's just do
exactly.
this. Why are you calling the police? Please put the phone down.
All right.
Specifically, not to ask questions.
The other thing about that is that it's awfully hard to bribe someone into silence with a truck full of neodymium, right?
Right.
If you're paying them in cash, you can add on an extra envelope full to be like, and don't ask questions or tell anybody or lose the receipts. I'm assuming. Well, I know actually nothing about rare earth metal trading, so maybe it is actually easier than I think to be like, here's a couple of neodymium magnets for your kids. Have fun.
Yeah.
Don't let them
What about the
swallow
French?
these.
The biggest
I'm
issue.
donating this
That'd be
iron ore
like
to your
diamonds.
local football team. Like,
Yeah.
what?
So
Yeah,
who
like
wants to make me another intelligence roll to figure out a little bit more for framing? I can give you that. I'm fine with
I'll do one.
Oh, that
Okay.
that's all you.
that. All right. Please feel free.
So are we just doing a base intelligence?
Yeah, this is common sense.
Can I help her because of where we initially worked?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
Mine's
Literally, I think.
That's literally where she went to college. Like.
Yeah.
God, what is with these rolls?
God damn,
today?
JJ, you are just having a tough time of it.
No.
Jesus, JJ, you were having a tough time of it. That's a 1 and a 2. My God. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that.
Becky's helping.
Yeah, Becky with the
You know,
help.
a lot's just happened, and Amaya's brain is just fried with all the, possibilities of things that are going. She's getting pulled in 50 million directions, and it's just
Yeah.
Scrambled eggs up there right now.
So
Yeah.
add 9.
Yep.
Lots of seaweed,
First.
if you will.
First terrorist attack? Yeah, no, basically. So you're on. Okay, so you've rolled a collective 11 after we add both of your rolls together. So, good news. There's an easy reason why. Because material doesn't have a routing number. That's really the truth of the matter. Like on our planet, we can easily figure out where something's from because there's only so much land mass on Earth and hey, I'm trading in gold. Well, we know where most of the gold mines are. We can probably figure out, like, by the sheer bulk and the quality where it's from. Space, on the other hand, Space, that's not the case. Like,
Yeah, there's no microbacteria you can trace.
and honestly, as far as resources go, it's kind of a grab bag. There are asteroids floating out there that are pure diamond, that are literally like gigatons of diamond just hovering out there covered in soot. And you'd never notice it till you rub it off. Or like, you know, crazy comets full of ice. So as a result, where the material comes from is difficult. You can still sort of do the same thing if it's through a more traditional business transaction. But for those who are being clandestine, rare earth metals and things like that that are useful commodities that are used in the galactic trade, like, and they are, like, they're used to this day, and in now even, for making most electronics and technology, that kind of shit's valuable. So the thing with trading in current is there's a record, there's a receipt. You could go to the MIG bank and eventually find it out. So if someone's trading in raw material, it means they are interested in secrecy above all else. And because you would need to ask Horak a little more about the purchaser. But at very least, like, this is a singular purchaser. So someone anteed up literally thousands of tons of neodymium. Yeah. So there you go. So...
Good thing for us they didn't get it on the blockchain.
the blockchain is dead in the future. Thank God.
My NFT!
Your NFTs are what they always were. Worthless! Anyway, so... I don't mind taking on that. Fuck you. Fuck random people with NFTs. Anyway.
You definitely don't have specific feelings about that there, Omni. It's okay.
Yeah, no, it's cool. This is my channel and my opinions. Anyway, we're done. So, who's doing what? Because I heard Zenith and Becky are gonna go talk to Delenray, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And the other three, Louis, Klaxon, and Amaya, what are you guys doing?
Well, are we going to talk to Horak, or are we going to... Because physically going, or just communicating? I almost said telepathically, but that was completely wrong.
Well, I felt that you were about to
That's
say
that's the
telepathically.
same word I was literally thinking.
I don't have that on my character sheet. Where's that?
I was like, we're gonna speak telepathically to that man. I was like, that's not the right word.
I'm saying, are we booking an office, or can we send him a Zoom invite?
I think we're just doing a Zoom,
Okay.
like a space Zoom, the space Zoomies.
Right now, you guys are currently in orbit over Evanti Prime. You have no direction. At the moment, the ship, you guys have not said where to go. So there's like, no, we're gonna stay here for now. That's their job. They are parked.
Yeah. Can, because don't we also, in this sector, don't we also have, like, the UN aid ship that we had went on to before? Isn't that still somewhere around?
Oh yeah. All your factions are still floating around out there, and the Union still has their construction fleet out there. So
Could we send, I guess Amaya could do this before she speaks to Horak, but before we speak to Horak, if anybody else wants to come, you're more than welcome to. But anyways, could I send a message to, like, the aid ship and just say, hey, this planet has been attacked, they need some extra aid, or they need some help, probably some more hands, can you guys go and assist? Like, is that a thing I could do?
So, the way that Union peacekeepers work in this particular instance is they'll come to assist when they're requested. Think of them as like FEMA.
Okay.
They will come to assist and let the locals do their thing, but unfortunately, all they can really do is sort of like, they can theoretically come and help, but then they would need the Evanti to request their assistance first.
Okay. Well, then I'll just send, I guess, Gentry? I don't know who I don't know if I should send it to. I'll just send it to both. We have like a little group
Well,
chat
Sarah,
with
right?
just
Yeah.
Sarah and Gentry, and I'll just be like, hey, if you guys need any assistance, you guys should reach out to the peacekeepers, and they'll come over and help you guys. Yeah, help. Yeah,
Okay.
words.
So you're gonna talk to Gentry and Serrano then, and Sarah Ferrano.
Yeah.
To do that. All right, I would like to see that conversation. So someone's going to talk to those two. Someone wants to talk to Horak. Someone wants to talk to Delon Ray. You got 3 objectives. And Paul, yes.
So I actually want to go shopping.
Absolutely, you can. Oh my goodness. Whatever for.
So a couple of things. One I have seen is for Meki. But I want to double check if Meki is eligible for it, and that's for increased armor.
Yes.
I've completely forgotten where it is now. Where's Pod 2 system? That's me. Right. So no, where does it go? Basically, there's one that just gives me more armor.
Yeah.
Arms.
Theoretically, yes. I'd be more than happy to. It's under the You absolutely can. We can work on building your armor up.
Yeah.
So that will cost some money, but yeah, you can absolutely go shopping for like
That's fine.
armor plating.
I check back actually. I have money. I don't have the 10 million to build the thing, but I'm so close.
Just waiting for some money in escrow, right? Like just waiting for that to show up.
Yeah. My investment in the stock recently in traders has gone down because someone just gave a bunch to the JLA.
Oops.
And I also wanted a weapon for myself.
Okay.
But I wanted a shotgun, but I wanted a tier 2 shotgun, and I cannot seem to find a tier 2 shotgun.
Oh, good.
Is that because there isn't a tier 2 shotgun, or because I can't find one?
That's because there isn't one available to you yet. You guys, the markets are still opening, but you could always go and talk to your local quartermaster. You do have one, after all, on board your ship. And
Excellent.
They'd be more than happy to let you know what's available. Cogsworth is always willing to talk shop if you guys want to talk shop.
I was going to say Cogsworth.
So yeah, I would like that. I'd also like, do we still have the map that I believe the JLA showed us?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Good. There it is. The color-coded one where all the different colors were represented by which one of the 3 sectors had that particular world.
Yes, precisely. Yes, you do still. I believe that's a map that's normally kept by the JSA, but he gave you a local copy. It's not up to date, but it is like a clone of the data that they had at that time.
Okay, that'll do. So I'm wondering if we could find a world that is kind of like in between them all, almost equally, so that we can set up our base.
Yes, that is absolutely entirely a thing you can do.
Because I'm pretty sure just floating above all the worlds forever isn't a sustainable business model. And we might want to land somewhere at some point.
Hell yeah. Okay, yeah, you could. All of these are great things to ask Cogsworth. Because what you're talking about is fulfilling your right of like settlement, as well as also getting armor and equipment, and also custom tooling yourself a shotgun. All of this can be done with Cogsworth, who, as a quartermaster, knows all these things pretty well. So, awesome. So we have someone going to see Cogsworth. That would be Louis, who's going to see Cogsworth. We have someone who's going to go and see Delon Ray. And that's going to be, as I recall, Becky and Zenith are going to go do that. Am I correct in that?
Yep.
Awesome. And then finally, we have a conversation to be had with Gentry and Sarah, as well as also Horak. So basically a series of conference calls that you guys are going to be doing for a bit. And that's going to be the purview of, I believe, Klaxon and Amaya, if I'm correct in that?
So, Amaya, if Amaya has a difference of opinion, I think Klaxon feels like he might be useful talking to Horak, because Horak is also a Shrike.
Yes.
The rest of them, but he has no real native skill or patience with negotiation or small talk. So would be willing to be there on the call with Horak just for that reason.
Yes.
But the rest of them, I think Amaya, I think he knows himself enough to know that it would probably go better for Amaya if he's not looming in the background groaning when they say something mean. So,
This is my bodyguard, and he'll
Yeah.
beat you up. He just took on 4 people by himself. Don't mess with him. Rawr.
well, if that kind of intimidation is you think would be helpful, then of course I'm willing to participate. But if it's just chatting, I don't think so. I don't think. And Claxon is also is interested in getting a little bit more of a closer look at the. We picked up 3 of those vibrating knives, figuring out how those work and how they would be best distributed. And there was another. Also, it's kind of a side note, but I did have a breaker shotgun that I think I loaned to Zenith when Zenith didn't have any weapons.
No, Becky, because Zenith also gave Becky her wife's sword thing. Yeah.
Okay, so if starting from having that shotgun and upgrading it is easier, I don't think Claxon is super worried about getting it back. So if that's available to pass her, and gives Louis an excuse to talk to Becky, of course. So
go be like milkshake.
Just putting that out there.
Go be a milkshake.
Okay, that's fair. So first, yeah, go ahead.
If that's okay, then I don't mind just taking both of the space. I don't know, the spoon meetings. I will easily take the spoon meetings, both of them, and then Claxon can go do that with the knives and stuff.
Okay.
If that's okay with him.
Sure.
It's fine with me.
All right. So we have what looks like Amaya handling those. So Amaya, you're going to be handling the calls with the Prime Minister, Gentry, and with Horak. Claxon, you were interested in looking at the knives, giving Louis a shotgun, as well as also possibly sitting in on the Skorath call, or are you going to step off of that?
If it would be useful for me to be there for the Horak call, then I'm happy to. But if Amaya feels confident handling it themselves,
I can do it.
If Amaya feels comfortable handling it themselves, then I would also be.
Okay.
Lolly, stop, Jackson.
All right, that's fair. That works. So that sounds like it's all perfectly reasonable to me. So we have Claxon, who's going to be going basically it would be over to Cogsworth, more or less, and specifically to Louis, to give the shotgun to Louis, and also to take a look at the knives, because again, quartermaster, his job is to maintain all the equipment. So technically it's somewhere in the bowels of your ship where that would be handled, and that would inherently bring you to Louis. So we have a Louis Claxon scene, a Becky Zenith scene, and an Amaya scene. Sounds good. I'm going to ask right now, because we've been going for over an hour, who wants to go to the bathroom or take a brief break? Oh my god, the hands just shot
my dogs
up.
need feeding, I think.
Roger that. All right. So I'm going to give, let's say, 5-minute break. Quick 5-minute break.
Yeah,
and do what you guys got to do. Get your ablutions in and return when you're ready.
Bye.
Sounds good.
And in the meantime, I'm going to vibe here in the chat. So, hey.
Lolly, would you mind coming to help with the dogs?
Yeah, no worries, lovely.
All right. See you guys shortly. We are officially going on a brief little break. We'll be right back. So, everyone, remember, your mics are hot. And you are too.
And so are you.
Yeah, there we go. Same mindset, JJ. Also, welcome in to everyone who's currently in the chat watching the stream. I want to thank everyone who is currently present. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Unicorn Head Studios. We're still going. We're just taking a brief 5-minute break. Please do me a favor, hit the like button, hit subscribe. We're still a small channel, and all that little growth goes a long way, so we appreciate you. Likewise, also, I currently have a Patreon open at the moment, so if you want to directly support the channel in a way that actually will give us, like, real money, then my genuine recommendation would be for you to go to patreon.com/TheLastOmnitect. Link right here, copied into the chat. Please feel free. Even if you just throw a little bit of money, it helps. Plus, if you do that, you'll also get to see the issues that I have in my webcomic that are going to be coming up, including being able to watch and read my webcomic 2 weeks ahead of schedule. Plus, also, you'll eventually be able to gain free access, depending on your level you're joining at, to my TTRPG projects, including the beta of this game that will be launching when I get the chance to finally launch it. So please, feel free to support me. I appreciate you. It goes a long way. I hope everyone's having a lovely day out there as we vibe. Also, for anyone who's currently out there watching, I want to thank you again for tuning in. Legacy First Flight is actually a tabletop role-playing game of my own design. Set 400 years in the future, our human species is finally walking among the stars and coexisting with the various species of the Union. And as such, we are exploring the galaxy and seeing things beyond in a grand space opera where we ply the stars, colonize worlds, entirely terraform dead stones, and delve into ancient ruins. This is a project I've been working on for almost 20 years, and I've been doing it solo. It is a game that probably its scope is closer in comparison to things like D&D or Pathfinder in terms of the sheer size of this project. So, I appreciate every single person in here watching. Believe me, it seriously validates a long period of work. And something I never really did even for money. I did this all for passion. So, yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you. Hope you're having a good day. And please feel free to ask any questions you might have in the chat. I am currently still sitting here, vibing, while we're waiting for our folks to return.
Hello.
Welcome back. Good to have you, JJ.
Thank you, thank you. I'm always happy to be here.
We're currently still on the we'll be back shortly. So
Oh, okay. No worries. Let me turn my light back on.
yeah, you good. Take your time. Ah. Oh, by the way, I have some, pretty decent news in regards to the Patreon.
Oh, yeah?
Currently up to 5 members at the moment. Considering I just launched earlier this week to, almost no fanfare, that's pretty decent. So...
That is very good.
yeah.
So are you doing your, I don't really have that much experience with Patreon, real talk, but are you doing, like a subscription thing, or?
Yeah, pretty much. So the way that it works is I technically have 4 tiers. I have the free tier that anyone can join at. I have the next tier up will be the Mysterious Wanderer tier, which is kind of the, hey, you want to throw me $6 a month just to support my stuff and as a thank you, and I appreciate you. and those folks get a couple of benefits as well. They get to see some of the earlier, like, they get to see some of my articles that are coming out early. They get my eternal gratitude. They get a thank you. The next step up is actually that'd be my comrade level tier. And that is, those guys are basically the bedrock. Those are like the $11 per month guys. Those folks actually get access to a whole bunch of stuff, including access to my webcomics 2 weeks before they normally drop, a bunch of like interesting lore blurbs and development peeks at what's going on behind the scenes. They even gain access to my TTRPG work as it's becoming available. So
Nice.
I will have like links on there for people to actually be able to look at the Legacy First Flight beta and stuff as it's being developed once it's in a state where I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And yeah, they also get a bunch of little conversation pieces and stuff with me. So it's pretty helpful. And then there's like the final tier, which is my Ironclad Ally tier, which is literally the you just want to throw me money and thank you. And at that point, in addition to the thank yous that the other tiers all get, which they all do get tiers, they all do get thank yous. And I believe it's the Comrade tier are the guys who get like the bigger thank you, like the biggest thank you I can give.
Biggest thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Like they're the guys who get the baseline, like, hey, here's your what is going on with this? Hold on. Oh, here we go. I think I see what's happened. Yeah. So the Trusted Comrade tier, those guys, I actually put their names at the end of my YouTube videos moving forward. As well as also I will be having...
Very cool.
Yeah. Ironclad Ally, I say their names, I don't just put it like in text, I actually say it out loud. So I'll like list them at the end of a video.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. I always like watching videos like that where they have like either a little like at the end, oh, here's a thank you to blah 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 blah, hoo, 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 and then or if they like do like a little video saying, hey guys, it's me, blah 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 blah, thank you to blah 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 blah, bee 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 bop boo boo. I would like that.
Yeah, pretty much. That's more or less the deal. So yeah, those are the three tiers. Trust the Mysterious Wanderer. They gain Patreon role. Also, all of them gain access to a unique Patreon role in my Discord. So Mysterious Wanderer tier gets a unique tier. Trusted Comrade tier gets a unique role. An Ironclad Ally gets a unique role, and they also get a custom chat to hang out with me and chat directly with me and the other Ironclad Allies that no one else can jump in on. Because
Very cool. Very cool.
yeah, so a fair bit. Yeah. That's pretty much the gist. It looks like we got everybody back, more or less.
Yeah.
No, I'm a hologram.
Damn.
I'm here. I just have to grab something really quick.
I'm a telegram.
All right. So let's see. Because I saw that JJ. Just wait for a quarter second. So, if that's the case, then I think we will return to the game as I get everybody going again. There we go. Yeah, everyone's sitting down. We all good. Okay. So, the question then becomes, oh, glorious chatters, which also, Paul, have you not been visible this whole time on my end? Oh, no, you're back. Okay, there we go. No, it was on your... all right.
It's just while I was eating.
There we go. No, we're good. I just wanted to make sure. All right, then. Who wants to go first? I'm presuming Paul and Klaxon, you're not going to want to go first because Paul's currently eating.
I want to ask, like, above table, would Becky and Zenith have already gone over, like, the game plan?
If you guys want to have, like, a discussion of what you all want to do in character, please do.
That might. Yeah. Okay.
I'm always open to you guys actually talking what you're doing out in character. It doesn't always have to be above table. I'm happy with that. Okay. So,
One of you has to start though, just so you know. Like,
I'm going to presume then that you guys are all meeting somewhere in the ship. So the real question is, do you want me to meet on the bridge? Do you want to meet in, like, the ready room? Where do you want to meet?
Bridge?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Location, not the game. Yep.
All right. There we go. So if that's the case, then we can get ourselves to the bridge and move everybody there. Beautiful. Okay, so the bridge of the starship is not at the very front of the starship. That is insane, and I don't think that's smart to ever do. So we don't do that here. Instead, the bridge of the ship is actually located at the top of the ship, literally almost in kind of a sort of like a command tower on like a carrier. It just allows the ship to see further away and over the bulk of the craft. And also it's a little bit further back on the ship, so it's not quite like the first thing that gets shot. Looking at you, crazy every other sci-fi series that has a giant glass canopy at the front of your starship.
It's only a vaguely important room, it's fine.
Yeah, you know, it's not like Star Trek hasn't literally blown up that exact room 1,000 times in the first shot of any battle ever. Rip every ship that's vaguely not the Enterprise in all of Star Wars ever. And Star Trek. Sorry, Star Trek, not Star Wars. Wow, kill me. Kill me.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So,
They're basically the same movie franchise anyway.
kill me. Kill me now. So, with that then, we're gonna cut to you guys inside the bridge. There's like a ready room right there, so you guys can all meet there and have your little discussion. If you want, you can do that totally on the bridge's vibe. So, you guys are all currently on the bridge of the ship. The mood of the room is somber. The captain and the crew are all sort of going about their business, largely just leaving you all be. But very clearly, one, very harrowing what they all just experienced, and two, hearing the full scope of the devastation has been disheartening for a lot of the crew. They're more than committed to your mission. They've always been, but now they're pissed. So, yeah. We turn it over to you guys. What do you do?
Now they are having specific feelings.
Yes, precisely.
None of us want to take initiative. We're just like, okay, we'll leave this.
I thought Becky and Zenith were meeting first.
We had a discussion where it was like, you guys might want to have an above-table decision of what to do. Or like, as opposed to above table, like an on-table like discussion of who's going to do what.
On table, basically, we've just info dumped to each other all of our findings, and we're now doing the right. Here's what we're going to do.
Right.
Moment.
I think Amaya will look at everyone and say, I just want to check in with everyone. We've just had something very intense, a little bit traumatic, and happen, and obviously the people, Parliament and everyone, are all going through kind of like a little crisis. So how is everyone here doing?
Are you expecting us to talk about feelings?
I mean, you don't have to talk them. I know that's kind of not your thing, and that's okay. I just want to make sure if you're okay. And if you said, yeah, you're okay, then that's good. We'll leave it there.
We kind of have a job to do.
It's fair. Well, in that case, those two are good. Are you two good?
Yeah, I'm bricking it. Like, I wasn't even in the fight, and there was so many people who came to where I was looking for help, but I couldn't help them all. I did what I could, and it was kind of beyond my means. I
mean, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It was scary seeing how many people couldn't be helped and was screaming and looking for family members and friends, and them not knowing that, the person they were speaking to not an hour before might not be in the same place they were going now.
Yeah.
That was horrifying.
I bet.
And that's why we're gonna kill the people responsible.
Yeah, we're gonna go handle that.
Okay, sweet.
But thank you for sharing that.
Yes, all right. Anytime. You're welcome.
Klaxon.
I am disappointed that I could only kill 4 of the 5 assailants.
For now, you might get the 5th one. We might find that person later, and you will give you the opportunity to get your 5 for 5. You know.
This would be acceptable.
Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna go.
This was a great therapy session. I feel healed. Thanks.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to you, but I felt like getting that off of your chest would do
When I
wonders.
close my eyes, all I can see is the screaming children who were running for their lives. But I'm really pleased you just said, yeah, cheers.
He's like, all I hear is screams. And I'm like,
We are not going to go start singing the epic musical.
No, because it won't stop.
no, because it's fantastic. We'll talk about that later. Anyways,
Zenith looks deeply uncomfortable and just sort of reaches over and sort of pats Louis' arm, like.
I'm gonna go speak to
And then-
Cogsworth about adding more armor and maybe getting some personal protection.
sounds good.
Because as healing and as therapeutic as this conversation was, I feel like maybe we could do more in terms of survival.
Yes.
Like, where I'm from, we're not really used to, attacks or villainy or, groups of people trying to, unalive other people. I'm just a commoner who said yes too many times and found myself here. So, I might need some more armor on Becky. That'd be nice. Maybe a gun. Don't have a gun.
Becky will send Louis links to like therapy, like actual therapists. Like, you know how they have their own sites for that. Yeah.
Space therapist.
Yeah.
You're like 20
Therapy!
ways to manage your stress.
Number 3 will surprise you.
All right, that sounds like a good
Better
idea.
space help.
Yes.
Better space help.
God.
And Klaxon is simultaneously sending Louis links to all kinds of places for armor specs and weaponry and ranged weapons and up close, and completely blows past the point that the idea that he's trying to arm Meki specifically, and is like, here's all kinds of things you can carry on yourself.
Maya's just sending you pet videos.
Zenith's just waiting
5
for all
out of
these
5.
feelings to piss off because this is all just transcending this all feelings
How to
fest.
find yourself in a better space.
All right, well, I'm going to head off. I'm going to talk to Sarah and Gentry about contacting the peacekeepers to help them with the crisis that they're dealing with right now. And then I'm going to speak to Horak about this mystery buyer and try to see if we can get a lead on who they are, where they're from, where can we find them, etc., etc. So I'm going to go do my spoon calls. Peace. And then I'm going to just do this and then the slow and
Jelly.
the walk off. And the walk off.
Zamaya slowly leaves the group, and the captain meanwhile turns around at the helm. This old, weathered female clique slowly turns around. God, you're all horrible at this.
We didn't know each other before this. Okay?
Technically,
We're learning.
we are like brand new at this, okay? This is like our second outing. The first one, nailed it, okay? 100%. No complaints. This one,
You're allowed to
some
complain.
complaints so far.
No complaints, and yet I was brought in.
It's
Jesus.
been wonderful so far. Real contribution to the team.
You're welcome.
All
I'm
right.
just gonna go let my dog out before he pees on the floor. Be right back.
Okay. So, Klaxon and Louis peel off to go talk to our friend the quartermaster. Becky and Zenith, I believe you said you were going to go ahead and talk to Dylan, right?
Yes. Becky will actually turn to Zenith and be like, okay, so what do you actually want to ask him for? Like, what task do you want him to complete?
That's a great question. I've made loads of notes, but my brain didn't open for that bit.
So, I guess it would be making like the capabilities. Sorry, his ability to create that tap that we want.
Yes. We want to find out if that's something he can do, and therefore, and if he can, to then do so.
Sounds good. So we're in agreement. Perfect.
Excellent. So we'll just.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Why is this a two-person job?
I don't know. I think it's because they're worried about the conflicting orders thing. Maybe I'll say something later, so we're presenting a unified front.
Why would you contradict orders later on?
It may be an accident. Who knows? The English language.
You do use superfluous choices of words sometimes, I suppose. So.
Becky will take that as a win. Just like, we're done. No more talking. Let's go.
Before, might I have my blade back, please?
I thought she already gave you it back. Sorry, yeah, but
I don't know if I didn't know if she had or not.
Gotcha.
Just having it back.
Yeah.
It's important.
If she didn't, yeah, it immediately just like, oh yeah.
Like, thank you. Put it back. Okay.
Yeah, they're already going.
I'm going to go now.
Yeah, they will literally like Becky won't wait. She'll just go.
We're going now.
Yeah.
We are so bad at talking. Wow. I thought my bad social character was bad at talking. Which this is even worse.
I feel like it's also their personalities. Like Becky against most aliens is like, yeah, I'm actually really interested in like what's your culture, where did you come from? But because Zenith is so stoic and like I don't want to get involved, she's immediately like she picks up on that discomfort and is like,
All right.
Know how to
Right, like I
I'm
don't
gonna
want
mirror-
to disrupt. I just want to do happy thing.
Are you scared of Zenith? Is that what I'm having here?
That's
She
not
might be
Zenith.
a
That's
little.
just Lolly. I'm just saying, like.
I'm a delight.
So I'm gonna take this moment here to jump in. I'm gonna say let's start with Amaya, because I know that JJ, you're the one who has the hardest time, like usually ending of the group, and I want to make sure that we get your stuff in first, because we are.
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good today. So.
Fuck yeah, that's great to hear.
Good. I will go first, anyways. That's fine by me.
Let's do it. All right, so JJ, we're gonna start with you. Amaya, you are going to be popping into the quantum entanglement communicator of the ship in order to have these conversations. So that's in the ready room. So then, who are you gonna dial up first?
I think I'm gonna dial up Gentry and Sarah Ferrano first.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So let's start that communication, that scene. So, Gentry and Sarah, both the two of them pick up like pretty quickly. I'm presuming you're messaging them both at the same time.
Yes.
Considering how much chaos there is on the planet right now and how busy they both are, they both see your communication and in like literally just a few minutes clear enough time to talk to you, which is kind of nuts how fast that went. So both the two of them pop on, and I'll leave the call to you. Both just sort of images wink on. Amaya, good to see you. What can I do for you?
I know you guys are incredibly busy. You've got a lot going on, but I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that if you guys needed to reach out to the peacekeepers for any assistance, that they are nearby and would be more than likely to help.
Right. Yeah, well, we're currently in the process of getting together a requisition request for them. So,
Great.
Sarah, I know you can handle this better than I can, but however you want to delegate that, it's more than happy to support. Sarah just sort of smiles and nods. Yes, I will be personally calling the Admiral later today. This should fall well within her capacity to actually give us some assistance. Can I ask you something, if I may? How many ships did you personally see? Like, burning at the time? We're still getting estimates.
It was like 30, right?
It was like something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 35.
I can't be quite sure, but I think it was maybe around 30.
All right, that's good. Not really. It's terrible, but it's at least that tracks with what we saw. So at least there's not going to be any sudden surprises.
Right.
Well, we'll get right on that. I appreciate you letting us know. At very least, having a Voyagers, request behind it will definitely help expedite the process, I'm sure.
I'm sure. And I just want to let you know that as far as our side, we are also working on tracking down these people. We're going through a couple different avenues. Once we have something more concrete, I'll update you if and when I can.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Be very careful. And at this point, Sarah, sort of leans in, and you can see that she's currently on her wrist link. Both of them are. They're currently walking about and engaging in work. But at this point, Sarah kind of, creeps away from her attendants and sort of steps into what appears to be, a study of some kind, possibly her office. You've seen her office before. It looks very similar, but the wheel probably has thousands of similar such rooms in it. She sort of leans in and whispers a little more. Be very careful who you talk to this about, moving forward. I don't know what the makeup of the Evanti Parliament's going to be in a few days. Unfortunately, I just had a vote of no confidence called in me.
Oh.
So, at the moment, we don't have a... The vote hasn't gone through yet, but they'll be holding one later today. And we'll see whether or not it goes through, and if it goes through, then we'll have to dissolve the government and make a new one. And at the moment, Boros Yevetason is likely going to be the person who's going to be my primary challenger. He is not an accordist. I don't think he would get on with you all as well. And I don't know. This seems like it's exactly what he's hoping for. He's been wanting to move the Evanti Parliament more actively into subjugating the entire Evanti Sector and move beyond the slow, hard, but necessary diplomatic work and into the flashier, more aggressive forms of diplomacy, including gunboat diplomacy. I'm not a fan of the expansionists. I work with some of them, I have to. It is a parliament, but if Boros wins, I would highly advise reaching out primarily to Gentry. I trust him. I'm not sure I trust Boros.
I can tell you that moving forward, yes, I will talk to Gentry. I'm sorry that you have that vote of no confidence. I hope that things work out so that you can still continue your work as a prime minister. I'll be honest, I will probably still reach out to you anyways, regardless of the result, mostly because I trust you, I trust your experience, and I feel like you would have some good advice or good guidance if we need so, even if you're not working directly in the parliament in your current position.
I appreciate that. I don't know how helpful I'll be, but I'll do what I can when I can.
Thank you.
Have a good day. And she winks off her comms. And Gentry kind of gives you a little nod and does the same.
Okay.
All right. So, that's those two handled. And I believe you still wanted to speak to Horak?
Yes.
Okay. So, you open up your communication, and Horak...
It is worth noting, Plaxon also wanted to be present during the conversation with Horak.
We resolved that. I basically told Maya that I would be there if she wanted me. They wanted me there, but otherwise, was
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So, the communication, it takes them a little minute to connect, but eventually you see Horak transmitted through the screen, very clearly just sort of like standing out on the balcony of his office, enjoying the scenery, as he turns to look over at you. He appears to be nursing what appears to be a decanter of some very deep amber liquid, which is almost assuredly alcoholic.
Oh, he got that fancy shit.
I
All
was
right.
gonna say above table, the ego.
And I did not say a tumbler. I said a decanter. He's holding like a
Decanter.
whole he's holding basically like the whole bourbon.
But he's
The
not even
fancy.
facing the camera. He's just like, yes,
Yeah.
look at all I
It's-
survey.
Yeah,
It's like Cristal.
yeah. It's the equivalent of someone like opening a call and having like a whole bottle of Jack Daniels in their hand. It's basically what he's doing. Amaya, I presume you're here to continue our conversation.
Yes, I am. I had a few more follow-up questions about this buyer.
So, of course you do. Alright, I'll see what I can do to entertain your curiosity without violating our proprietary knowledge and confidentiality agreements. What precisely do you wish to know about them?
Do you? I'm trying to pick my questions around what would be in a confidentiality clause. Oh, I read your report and I saw that you said that they paid for this custom job in raw materials.
Correct.
Do you know where they got their raw materials from?
No, unfortunately, they were not very forthcoming with that information. In fairness, we already trade in many of the materials they gave us. The bulk of it was the surprise. And also, with no financial transaction beyond the mineral wealth, well, if there's one problem with working within the Union, it's taxes. And taxing raw minerals is significantly easier than taxing coin. So, we considered it a tax write-off and ran with it. Did our best not to ask too many questions. But, I can tell you at very least, it was interesting how they transferred it to us.
How was that?
Several thousand tons of neodymium would normally require a crew of some 100+ workers. One representative appeared. The rest of the process was automated by drones. Several thousand of them, working in tandem. I don't know whether he was controlling them, or whether someone was managing them remotely, but the entire process appeared automated.
So drones, but only one person.
A humanoid. I'm not sure precisely what species. They never took their helmet off.
Do you remember anything about the drones? Did they have any type of insignia? How were they built?
They are familiar to me. The type of drones by a particular company by the name of, I believe, Mirage Labs. Mirage Laboratories is one of our subsidiaries. They're a human venture. One of the old human empire factions. Now a corporate entity. They primarily focus in robotics and electronics, but their technology and drones are commonly available on the market. And I didn't remember seeing an order of such magnitude come through, which implies they possessed and owned the drones before they purchased them in the sector.
Okay. Is there anything that you can tell me about the humanoid?
Yes, I can give you a few details.
Okay.
Rounded, translucent helmet, from what I was told. I was only able to briefly observe from a distance, and my sonar at great range isn't particularly helpful with things such as opacity or with light and color. I must be very close to perceive those things with any level of fidelity. But the representative we sent, that'd be Vernon, he informed me that his helmet appeared to be black, as was almost all of his clothing, with the exception of red lighting. His eyes were visible through it. They appear to be backlit, but that could just be an effect of the helm. Again, all black and red. No markings of any kind, but the spacesuit, the atmosphere was of incredibly high quality. I believe artisanal, likely custom tooled. I was told it matches very much the same kind of high-grade atmosphere you see used within corporate environs. Apparently they gave my fineries a run for their money. So whoever it is, they have wealth.
High roller.
Watch it be the tech lich.
That's what I
That
was
would be
thinking.
like,
I'm like, wait. I'm like over here, like on roll 20, like trying to go through the freaking thing. I'm like, no, I swear we saw somebody like that. Did the humanoids say anything that caught your attention? Or your representative, because I believe it's your representative who spoke to them and you were just watching from a distance?
Yes, Vernon gave me the transcript of what occurred afterward, and I watched the transaction several times via wrist link. They were very brave. But also, they mentioned future opportunities. They haven't contacted us since, but they said they were working on several large enterprises, and that in the future, perhaps, they could reach out and work with us. Their demeanor was very pleasant. Strangely so. Disarmingly so. This is the sort of person that cloaks daggers behind smiles. I've sat across them 1,000 times in these sort of board meetings. Investors come in, grinning, ready to rob you blind. I don't know whether or not he was legitimately serious, but his tone implies that he was genuine. Just, to call it cocky would imply that he is not actually serious, but it was definitely masculine. That or the distortion on their voice mod was. Confident. That's the word I would use. They are very confident.
Okay. Did you happen to see anything about perhaps the ship that they came in?
Yes, actually. I suppose that is important, isn't it? I don't normally think of such things. It's not uncommon to see individual buyers come and arrive in all sorts of esoteric craft of various cost. I deal with the wealthy. And the wealthy tend to be, eccentric like that. He arrived with a series of haulers bearing the cargo. All of the cargo haulers appeared to be automated drones slaved to his personal ship, which was a yacht, actually. I don't often see them that small, but very small. In fact, I first thought it was an orbital lander. I can tell you for certain, it was Anazalian design. And not modern either. It was old. Solid black, very smooth lines, likely sculpted by someone. Couldn't tell you who, but a lot of Anazali have their shipwrights, sculptors, engineers, all the same thing. They're artists. This was definitely custom made, and it was quick. And I can also confirm it had a spacefold drive of its own, which for a ship that small If it weren't Anazali, I would have been very surprised. But it is, for sure. And fast. And I'm confident he was armed. No more than maybe 500 feet wide. Couldn't have a crew more than 20.
Okay. Oops. 20. I'm trying to see what else I could ask as far as info. Several tons. Is there anywhere close by that you could get that much raw material?
No. Not that we don't directly control. It's the whole point of the JSA. We have the resources. We work with all the businesses. That level of industrial mining, if they acquired it, they either got it from outside the sector, which is possible, but an insane amount of work to go through for comparatively not as much. Or they got it in the free marches somewhere on the edge of the sector. I'd put money on that. It's a vast, unexplored space out there. I unfortunately have business to return to, Amaya, so I'm afraid I'm going to make this brief with you. But I have one final thing I wish to communicate with you directly. I was under the impression that the unfortunate attack that occurred on Evanti Prime just earlier today, I've heard scuttlebutt that JSA weaponry and technology was used in that attack.
You would be correct.
A freighter of ours went missing about a week ago. We presumed it would be piracy among the common ocean people. It happens occasionally. Corsairs strike our shipments and take what they want. It is the nature of our relationship. I believe that is the source of those weapons and equipment. It was shipping arms to one of our colonies. The Durandal is the name of it. JSA Durandal. Please feel free to follow up on that if you'd like. I can send you its flight time.
Yes, if you could, that would be helpful.
Excellent. I'll get that done. I can promise you this. The last thing I want is more Evanti meddling. I would not strike at them like this. You have my word. Good day, Amanda.
I understand. Good day.
And the screen turns off. I'm going to take a very quick moment to go to the bathroom because I was the only guy who didn't do that during the break, and I'm a doofus. So give me a moment. I'll be right back. Please, chat. Let my guests entertain you while I go do the dumb thing I should have done a while ago.
Well, since we all have you all here and we're going to talk, let's talk about epic musical. That is. Let's do that, okay? First of all,
I love 5,000 strike. 500, sorry.
Thunderbringer. That's my Jimmy Jam. That's my Jimmy Jam right there.
It's gotta be anything with Calypso for me.
Poseidon, ruthlessness. That man's voice. I'm just like, yes.
Steven Rodriguez. That's so funny. He's actually the reason why I even know what Epic the Musical is. Here's the story. So I was listening to Teddy Swims, right? New artist, whatever. And I was like, man, Teddy Swims has like this.
I mean, Teddy Swims is not new. Teddy Swims has been around for a long time.
Yeah, but like, he's only really kind of come up there now. Like where, you know, like he's kind of like all over the place. At least for me. For us.
Yeah, I'll say he's a UK artist, so like for me, I'm like, Yeah, he's been
Okay.
around for ages, but he might
That
not have
makes
broken
sense.
stateside. Yeah. Like,
That makes sense. Over here, I don't think anybody really know who he was until like the past year or so. Amazing artist though, absolutely amazing. So I was listening to Swims and I was like, oh man, like I really like, I really like his voice, whatever. Let me go see, like, put it on Spotify radio and listen to other music that is similar to his, because I was in that mood. And then Steven Rodriguez came on, and I was like, who is this? Wow. So then I started listening to Steven Rodriguez specifically, and then, of course, Ruthlessness came up.
Yes.
And so I was like, whoa. I was like, first of all, this is a whole bop and a half. This is incredible. What is this? And then I started listening to the Ocean Saga and then got more into it. And I was like, oh, this is like a whole thing. This is like a whole thing. And there's more albums. Wow. So then I started listening.
Anyway, I'm all that you want here, all that you need here. Just my paradise.
yeah, Paul's been wandering around house singing Calypso songs for at least the last 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness. Love that.
I got into it just from TikTok. It was just all over my TikTok feed. And I'm like, who is Penelope? I need to know this person. She seems very important to this man. But whoever is singing these lyrics does not care about Penelope at all. I need to know who it is. Do I need to care about Penelope?
So, I clearly have walked back in on an interesting conversation. I'm presuming about...
Epic the musical.
Ah, gosh, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I had a feeling that was going to pop back up. I didn't realize it would pop back up right now. That is very interesting.
Well, you abandoned us. We had to entertain chat. We're just entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, that's fair.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't blame, like, if I pass out behind the driver's seat, I can't blame someone for crashing the car. That's on me.
Hey!
You are crushing the car.
Yeah, exactly. It's my fault. It's my
All
fault.
she did was tinker to the station that everyone wanted to listen to.
You know what? I got no issue. No hate. I literally don't know enough about this to have an opinion, so we're good.
Shout out
shared
to
with you
Bones
some
saying
animatics.
that.
You
their
did
favorite
share some
is the
animatics.
Oh, Underworld Saga is so feelingsy. It makes you
Oh.
oh my god!
This is
Yes.
clearly this is a podcast we need to have, like, on
Yes.
the side. I'm just gonna need to invite you guys on when I'm doing an art stream and, like, so talk epic thing at me so I understand.
Let's focus back on the campaign.
Yes.
Bring it
Don't clap your hands with your fists closed. It really hurts.
in. Bring it in.
Oh, I'm
Bring
so
it in.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Why are you sorry?
poor
that idiot?
Knuckles.
Because your little hands. Your little hands.
So,
Don't need them.
It's not a stupid fault.
and, feel better. Ice if you need. And with that, I think we'll return to the session. So then, Amaya, was there?
Music playing.
There
Where's that
is.
playing from?
I think it's someone's feedback. I think that's where it is.
Who's listening to Epic? That's the real question.
There you go. No biggie.
3 of us were muted. Who was listening to it?
I have no idea. It's fine. So,
It's like it keeps cutting in.
Yeah, it's just like,
trying to see.
Yeah,
I think it's
still
Paul. No, Paul. It's not Paul. I think it's KO. I think for some reason it's bleeding into your feed. I don't know how.
I
So nothing. This is
am
weird.
not listening to it at all. The only music that I have playing in my headphones is whatever was playing through Roll20.
I think it's Sir Bones, actually. Sir Bones is
Sir
listening to it.
Sir
what
Bones.
it is.
We love you,
That's
Sir
what it
Bones. Yeah, no worries. It's fine. Some just feedback loops happen. It is unfortunately the struggle with audio. Every once in a while, audio does not want to do what we want.
It's also VDO, because I've noticed that happens quite frequently. Like, even if I'm muted, sometimes things will still show up. I don't know how.
That is fair. That is fair.
It just goes. I think. I know you said no, but I think the people want to hear this. You just don't understand.
Give the people what they want.
Okay, well,
Alright,
in the
alright,
meantime,
sorry.
returning back to the game so that I don't get copyright struck by the discussion of a musical. So, who wants to go? I was going to ask Amaya, was there anything else you wanted to do in the octave of those conversations? Whether that be, like, make any tests to see whether or not they were genuine or what have you.
No, I think that after collecting all of this, I think Amaya would probably just go off to kind of just research. I think so that she would be like, one thing she would be keeping open, like what's going on with Parliament in terms of like whatever meeting that they're having as far as a vote. I would have that kind of like open on like, you know, one screen, and on the other screen I would be doing like research about, okay, you know, has there been any sightings of this JSA vessel that had all the weapons that went missing? Just going over through that info that he sent me,
Okay.
that Horak sent me. And then yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing. So I'm just going to be like kind of holed up doing that, but I can go into more depth like next session with what I'm doing.
Okay, no worries. Perfect.
I'm done.
Perfect. I appreciate you. All right, awesome. So, I'm just taking a little note there. Okay. So, who wants to go next? Because I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
I might recommend that we go to, I figure we could... Actually, they're both viable conversations to go next.
Oh,
That's the
no.
problem.
I'm down to go next if Ko is. That's fine.
Sure.
Sure, let's
Yeah.
do it. All right, then. So, Louis, you, and I don't know why... Oh, I see why this is doing that. I'm going to put that in the... to back. There we go. So now it's not going to be... Everything can actually float over it. I don't know why it does that. It's so weird. To front. It's so weird. I don't get why it does that. That's so odd. That's so weird. And I don't know why... Oh, I see why this is... That definitely just came through. No! It's so strange. Alright. So, Klaxon, Louis, you two are... I would just say mute my YouTube in the background. It's because that's clearly what it is. I think it's the Mewtwo. It's the Mewtwo. It's the YouTube.
Mewtwo.
It's the
I
YouTube.
love Mewtwo.
I love Mewtwo
So,
too,
hang
but
on.
he can't be here.
If it was the YouTube, that it was Sir Bones, it was you.
So, the two of you are going to be heading into the engineering department of the starship. So, the starship itself, like I said, is kind of arranged a little bit like an aircraft carrier in how it functions. Which means, at the top, you have the command decks and stuff. At the bottom, you have the engineering, usually below waterline. In this case, you guys actually would be going to the proper term for this would be the departure bay at the bottom of the starship, which also is the engineering bay right below where all the engines are, right up there. So, as you guys are in there, I'm just going to pop this on.
Just on the way to that engineering bay, if I may have a conversation with Klaxon.
Yeah, please.
Klaxon, like, you see everything with, like, the sound, right? Like, you don't have sight like the rest of us have sight. You have, like, echolocation almost. Is that right?
Yes.
So does that mean you can pick up on, like, variations of sound? Like, could you recognize someone's, like, walk, their gait, the way that they walk? Like, do different people have signature walks? Is that a thing?
That's so. I, as a human, do. I would assume that would be something that the Shrike would pay attention to as well. But I'm seeing Omni nodding, so I'm going to say yes.
Always good to say yes when the GM is nodding. Like, yes,
I mean,
GM is nodding.
they
I will
can
agree.
perceive color up close because of the way, like, everything vibrates, so I would assume they'd be able to perceive, like, a person's gait.
Yeah, and like, what about like their heartbeat? Do you hear heartbeats, or is it not quite that good?
So, my assumption, and please Omni, tell me if I'm wrong about this, but because it is an echolocation kind of thing, so there is a frequency that is going out from me and then being reflected. The way somebody walks and their leg positions and feet positions would be distinct enough, whereas their heart beating, I don't know. To me, echolocation seems like it's complementary to but distinct from hearing, and so I don't think it's just I can hear a heartbeat, but the reflected echolocation can see the changing position of the body, and the heartbeat would probably be too fine or concealed in body and then clothing, would be my guess.
It would depend on the clothing. So the Shrike, the way that your like echolocation works, the term that the Shrike uses is the thrum, and that's actually what their focus is. So when a Shrike turns their attention to someone, they feel the thrum. It literally is like a low-level vibration they can feel in their bones. Some humans will say like it can feel like they're in their teeth. Like, have you ever had like a frequency or a sound that like you can hear in your teeth or feel in your bones? It's a very deep, bassy sound like that, and you can actually even feel it in your chest. So like, depending on how much like, especially if you're wearing like Atmos gear or heavy power armor, yeah, it might be obscured. But like a person walking around just like standard Atmos gear, like the relatively thin standard clothing you guys wear, yeah, you can perceive their heartbeat. Think of it as like sonar's kind of like the way we perceive light, but they're doing the same thing with sound. So the intensity of that sound and the frequency of that sound can be perceived in the same way that we can perceive a flashing light bulb. So it'd be almost kind of like, if you were to describe it in the visual sense, it'd be like if someone was made of light, and with every heartbeat, the light gets brighter where their heart is, and then it would dim a little bit. So yeah, literally like that.
So I can give you an ultrasound from across the room, basically.
It's pretty much what it is, yeah.
Okay. So, well then, yes, I can. It can perceive.
Okay. I'm guessing because you can do that, you can see if like someone's heartbeat increases or decreases like suddenly for no reason. And like so like if they're lying or out of breath or have been running and their heartbeat would be faster, you can see that.
I believe so. Yes.
Yes. I keep whenever you speak, I try and copy your voice, and that isn't going to work.
Are you mocking me?
Yeah. Does anybody on the ship spontaneously, potentially without reason, get a faster heartbeat for reasons? Maybe the reasons I haven't mentioned on this list.
We have been in many high stakes and dangerous experiences.
When I say on the ship, I mean like on the ship, not like people on the ship outside of the ship. I mean people on the ship inside of the ship. Okay, you all laughing is not helping me keep my straight face.
I'm
I'm not laughing. This is very funny because I know exactly where you're going with this, and I'm enjoying myself.
Well, sometimes we have to walk very long distances to get around the ship, and heart rates and respiration will be faster because of that.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Is there a role here I can do to like I know what you're getting at. I think Claxon is oblivious.
I am being deliberately vague and nervous about telling you, so that makes sense.
You know what? There is a role. There is a role. Louis, make me deception, which would be subterfuge in this case, and Claxon, make me an awareness check.
Let's say somebody doesn't have subterfuge. What is that?
That is attached to willpower baseline.
Oh yeah. Nuts.
Is it? I have it as an intellect on my sheet.
Oh, that's right. It is intellect. It used to be willpower. It's intellect now.
That is significantly better. Thank you.
Yes, awareness is intellect as well. So
correct. Claxon, theoretically, you could also use coercion if you wanted to be more aggressive.
Oh, I get a luck dice, right? Okay.
Yes. Don't forget your luck dice. Choose whichever
I'm
one of the two.
100% using a motive legacy, as I rolled a 1 and a 2.
All right.
I rolled a 3 and a 2, and I get a +1 to intellect. But so theoretically that's a 4. But I also have alertness, which means I can re-roll a failed awareness roll.
Paul's the one who would set the target number. So, Paul, we need to know what your number is.
The target number would be a 9, I'm afraid. If it's my highest roll.
So, alertness triggers. You get to roll it again.
Okay. Well, let's hope something explodes then. Oh, my luck die explodes.
There you go.
That's 6 plus 1 is 7. Plus 1 is 8.
Just barely. I feel like I think.
Claxon, you have the distinct thought that clearly there is some subtext going on here. some weird Sylvan subtext you're just not picking up on. It's not a thing that's really like... The Shrike are very nuanced, emotional people with a very strong tradition of romance and of poetry. But also on top of that, your people are usually pretty fucking direct with that shit. It's very much a, oh, I'm in love with you. It isn't going to be, I'm going to wheedle around for a while. It's going to be, I'm going to beat the fuck out of the person who insulted you, and then I'm going to throw you whatever the trophy I can off of them and say, hey, I think you're cooler than this person. Like, you will literally... Yeah, you'll read poetry as someone throws furniture at you. Yeah, exactly. Like...
wow, set the bar high, like, don't you? Jesus.
Yeah, so, like, this sort of wheedling around a romantic thing, you don't... It just misses you. At least, you know, conceptually, anyway. So it doesn't... You don't know what it is. You just know there's some weird subtext going on. You don't know...
I would need more information if you need a specific instance.
It's fine. It's fine. Forget I even asked. It doesn't matter. No. I was just thinking out loud about a thing.
Do you want to see a really cool knife?
You know what? I do really want to see a really cool knife. Yes. That is a very cool knife. I'm very pleased you identified that vibrating object as a knife. I appreciate that.
There's a soft as the doorways to the engineering section open. As Klaxon, you're holding this cool little kukri ass looking thing in your hand that is vibrating so quickly it actually becomes translucent. Like light actually passes through it. As you're looking at it.
Becky took like all their knives, so we all got knives.
Yes, I'm presuming right now the bulk of them are currently in the engineering department.
Probably.
However, Klaxon made it very clear that one of them was hammer spaced into his inventory, so I'm okay with that for the immediate moment. It makes sense that Klaxon would carry that.
I'm sorry, the knife vibrate so quickly it becomes translucent?
Effectively, yeah. It's basically like a helicopter blade. It moves so quickly.
That's insane. What if you left it on while it was on the ground and you had to try and pick it up? That'd be well dangerous.
So, at the risk of dropping a lightsaber perfectly vertical, Rick and Morty did it better than I could.
Yeah.
But
great episode.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Perfectly fucking vertical. The inside the engineering deck at the moment, there's a whole bunch of technicians working. They're refitting your mech right now, just doing the usual like basic maintenance, that kind of thing. Mechie's currently sitting in a gantry, getting lavished with attention by technicians. The lander you guys are gonna be probably needing to use if you want to go back down to Avanti Prime anytime soon, is currently also going through a refit, and right in the middle of all of it, you can see Cogsworth just sort of quietly, like, tapping away on their wrist link, just gleefully doing their bit. You can hear them humming something under their breath that sounds vaguely like it might be Hammerstein, just a little bit, like, you know, very model of a modern major general or something to the equivalent of that. Something very bouncy as they are currently working on inventory work. Yeah, as you guys are approaching, as this buzzing knife is just doing its thing.
I am the very model of a quartermaster insect guy. So is there a desk of some sort or a table that they're working behind? Or?
They sort of sit in front of what appears to be a very small lander of their own. Like, it's a Tortuga, like your own. So it kind of looks like it's a space equivalent of a pickup truck. Like, it's not much bigger than your average helicopter. It's on the back of it, though, where you guys, like, mostly have it clear, and occasionally you'll lash your mech to it, or, like, seats for people to sit on. There's just piles and piles of cargo boxes and containers, just, like, literally bungee corded onto it. And all around them is just piles of, like, inventory and equipment, lockers, and it's all out in the open. It's like a massive vaulted structure in here, big enough to hold, like, small starcraft. But in this large open hangar space is this one area that sort of just looks like a hoarder's room exploded with industrial equipment. And in the middle is this small, tiny hab, no bigger than like an igloo. And there is a number of like kiosks and stuff that Cogsworth is sort of sitting around that you can just walk up and interact with. But usually you go through Cogsworth directly to do this kind of thing. They kind of manage the chaos of the quartermastery here.
So I think Claxon would sort of stride over and say, "Are you experiencing any problems with your heart?"
Oh, hi there. As Claxon turns their fuzzy, like, they're sort of like, they're very, very almost furry looking, with that, like, very fine kind of moth-like scaling that certain clique have. Specifically the CS clan always have that. And they even have, like, almost vestigial kind of, they look like moth wings, but they're really just gonna be, like, growths of a bunch of, like, just basically that same fluff just growing out from their body. And so they turn their, like, feathery antennas sort of in your direction as their bright sky blue eyes look at you. And just sort of, no, thank you. I know my humming's not that great, but a couple decades out of practice. So, anyhow, what can I do for you, my esteemed Voyagers? Louis, good to see you. Claxon, I hope we can establish a working relationship moving towards in the future. I believe this is the first time we've worked together. What brings you to my humble abode?
I found a really cool knife. I want to know what it does.
The eyes lock on, like, cliquish eyes are compound, technically, but they illuminate in the direction they're looking, as they have an internal eye beneath the compound eye. And so, like the two spots of, like, clearly where their focus is, just lock onto the knife, and you can see, like, their antennas slowly all, like, turn up and almost going to vibrate the same frequency of the knife. Can I see that for a second?
Yes.
I turn it off before you pass it over. Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
turn it off.
Like,
Handle first. Claxon is very, very conscious of weapon safety.
that's the on button. Just be careful of that. If it turns on and you drop it, we're doomed.
This
Never
isn't
been picked up.
This isn't my first time handling what I believe is a frequency knife. And they take it and hold it up, and like the way that it's designed is you squeeze it, and the harder you squeeze it, the stronger the frequency becomes. So it literally pitches up and down automatically as long as you apply like grip strength to it.
Oh yeah.
And so they hold.
And this is a knife. Okay.
This is definitely a knife. This is a very good one too. I don't normally see them curved like this. Hold on. Just digs around for a second with one of their paddles and pulls out what looks like an aluminum pipe. Just kind of. Now, let's see if this really is the real deal or if it's just kind of a fake-ass replica that I occasionally see. Hold on. And just like there's this little sound, this keening sound as they take the blade and just gently touch it against the metal pipe. And it goes through a range of frequencies. It's literally everything from like deep bassy, like someone pulling to like pushing way too far down on a bass, to like this screeching nails on chalkboard sound, and then suddenly dead silence, and the blade just passes through the pipe, and the pipe doesn't even cut. The knife just goes through it, and the actual pipe itself is completely untouched. It's not even a divot. Oh yeah, that is 100% a frequency knife. Where the hell did you find this thing? This is fantastic quality.
As with most of my weapons, I took it from the body of an enemy.
No shit. Huh. Well, that's a keeper. I could probably fetch you like a good, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 credits per knife to have more of these things. Easy. Or I could scan it.
Scanning means we'd be able to reproduce them, right?
That is precisely what it means, my friend. The heart of any industry is reverse engineering the competition, and my friend, you have an exquisite weapon here. Oh, I could charge such a premium for this.
Well, this one is mine, but if you can use it to make more, you are welcome to borrow it.
Oh, you've made me very happy. We are going to have a great relationship, Claxon. I can already tell you. As he slowly inches his way back from where he's standing and just puts it down onto a bed. And the bed immediately begins to, like, light up as the blade hovers above it in a magnetic field. And it almost looks like an old school, like, scanner, like paper scanner. As it's, like, slowly going back and forth over the knife. I'll have it back in about 24 hours.
You see, there's a little K sharpied on the bottom of the hilt.
I love it. I love it.
Strike are tough. Their
Yeah.
skin
And
is,
we
like,
did-
literally...
Yeah.
We did. I think you said that we were able to recover 3 of them, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
So there are at least 2 more that. Which, and if he would want to compare them, like, I don't know if they do, if they would do different things, if they would all be the same.
You're pretty confident they're the same make, at least. Like, you didn't know how they worked, but they looked very similar. Unless someone had a thing about making the exact same knife do 3 totally different things, which...
Gotcha.
Weirder people be weird, but, like, you know, it is possible. But it's very likely that they're the same type of gun, or same type of knife.
Can you, in your scanning, can you get any information about where or how this was made? If we could perhaps track it to a manufacturer, that could be very handy.
Well, I can tell you right now, I don't recognize a manufacturer on that thing, and I basically work with about every business that you can actually give a shit about. So it's not mass manufactured. And on top of that, it could be original, possibly. I can give you a chemical readout of it, but I'm not gonna lie. Looks, The problem with frequency blades, my friend, isn't that their concept is difficult to understand. It's a manufacturing's a pain in the ass. The actual minerals and materials, though, basically the same as your average knife. Just add a high-frequency oscillator on it with a fine enough frequency finder where it can find the molecular frequency of an object. And you just gotta make sure that the knife is pure enough, and namely, true enough, where it can actually make its edge actually monomolecular. That's the real trick with that thing.
So if they are hard to make, the number of places where they could be made is probably fairly small.
I can basically tell you exactly who would normally make them. And that would be, mostly Alliance Industrial. It's an old human trick. Most of those businesses don't bother with it. Why do that when you can make a, I don't know, fucking laser sword or heat blade? It basically does the same thing. Yeah?
Why would they do that? What is the benefit of a vibrating knife?
That's the real trick right there. You see, way back in the day, humans had this old war, and called it the faction war. It's the whole reason that they have these weird corporations that used to be governments things. Crazy, the history's nuts. But, during that era, they invented avatars. You know, the big, scary-ass mecha. Not like yours, Louis. Your walker's fantastic, but avatars are like a cut above it. Well, those things are basically impossible to kill a pilot in. Like, damn near, you almost can't, short of like nuking them or dropping an orbital weapon directly on one. The pilot's almost always going to succeed. Well, the guys who made them, these folks, what were they called again? Faction leaders or whatever? I don't know. There was one of them, guy by the name of Shinjo Muramasa or something. I don't know. Generic human name from their eastern quarter, whatever. Human culture's so dense, I don't even bother. But this guy reasoned if you make a defense that perfect, you need a way to get around it. So he made these super powerful laser swords called Hoshinoken. Literally translates to Blade of the Stars. An energy blade so strong it creates a fission reaction when it's activated. Literally atomically separates what it cuts. Crazy thing. The other faction leaders didn't like that this guy suddenly made a way around it, so they all made their own tool to get through it. Frequency blades were the Alliance Initiative's method of doing it. Energy shielding and all that metal between point A and point B, super scary stuff. A frequency blade, however, matches the molecular vibrations of something. Technically the atomic vibrations, crazy science, I couldn't tell you. The blade basically becomes the material it's cutting through. So you cut through the armor, not by severing it, but by the knife effortlessly becoming a part of it. And cutting whatever's underneath it. So imagine whatever armor you're wearing, imagine if it just suddenly stabbed you. It's basically what a molecular... That's basically what a molecular blade does. That's what a frequency blade does. That's why it makes that weird sound. Every time you hit it, you're tuning it. Once it finds the frequency and it matches it, it becomes the same atomic composition of what it's passing through. And at that point, there's no distinction. It's also effortlessly a great way to get new materials and equipment. I can cut you out of your mech, and your mech will be fine. You'll be in pieces, but your mech won't.
Claxton is
that would be a
imagining
relief.
Claxton is imagining like, okay, so if I wear a layer of cloth underneath the metal of the armor, then the last thing the blade pokes into is the cotton, and it just gives me a nice little buff on my skin. Almost certainly not how that works, but
this blade is quite relatively small, quite a big blade. How does it get so close to the avatars?
So, this is just the personnel version of that. For the most part, the types of blades you cut through avatars with, those are made for constructs and avatars. So those are like
Okay, that makes sense.
20 or 30 feet long.
I thought they were getting this like 9-inch dagger onto an avatar. That's really impressive.
No, but you can use it to cut through outer armor or through ablative shielding and gut up some of the electronics inside of an avatar, possibly. It can be really useful if you're going to be an annoying pest. Something this big, really more made to cut through body armor on a person, like hard suits or even a person in just like standard semi-powered plate armor. That'll go through it like that, if you get lucky. The frequency, it can be difficult to manage. They only gave these things to elite troopers because they're kind of nutty. Like, it's... Sometimes the blades
That seems
find
like the
their
worst
frequency.
description I want for a weapon ever. Kind of nutty. What about reliable or consistent?
Well, unfortunately, the Night Guard were nothing but consistent. That's why they gave them these incredibly unstable weapons. The Night Guard themselves were these crazy old badass guys who ran into battle with full plate armor, hard suits, and actual blades, like in the 20-aught somethings. Kind of nuts, but they managed to make it work. So the frequency blade just meant that occasionally an opponent would have no defense at all. And when you're fighting against someone with a sword or in close quarters combat, if your defenses just suddenly cease to exist against a guy wielding a knife in a hard suit or a sword, you just die. So it worked pretty well for their tactics. Again, it's a very esoteric technology. You don't see it very often nowadays. Why would you? Just make a heat clave or make a beam saber. Something easy you can manufacture that'll do the same thing. This is kind of a shtick.
Sort of redundant technology. You've just listed like 4 or 5 different things that are better. Why would they sell at such a high price?
Mostly collector's items, for one. And for two, they do something that no other weapon can, which is effortlessly cut through a defense without damaging it. If you want an assassin, you give an assassin a frequency blade, if they're able to make contact with their target for, I don't know, roughly about 3 seconds continuous, it doesn't matter how difficult the frequency blade is finding it to cut through it, it'll find the frequency. The longer you maintain physical contact with an object, the more likely it'll find that frequency and cut through it. So if you want to kill someone for sure, if you can find the exact frequency of their armor, they'll die. Really useful.
Claxton has missed everything since you said construct size because he's been imagining himself like Final Fantasy giant sword version of this.
Limit break 9999999.
Just imagining, a four-handed weapon.
So, I won't lie, and I think we've gone slightly different ways there, Claxton. I'd imagine how good this would be in bakery, because you could cut through like the cheese without damaging the packet, and therefore the cheese would stay fresh for longer.
There are methods of using this tech that would be very weird. It's just...
Like, I'm just saying, like, that could happen. Like, the cheese would just stay fresh. It'd be vacuum sealed the entire time.
I kind of love this, actually. I didn't think about the frequency blade cheese meta, and now I should have.
That is, although you would still have to open the packaging to get the slices.
I
of
know,
cheese
but I
out.
presume they have a way to get like a body out of a hard suit, because he said like I would be in pieces, but the hard suit would be fine.
Oh, you can disengage a hard suit manually if someone, like...
Can't disengage a vacuum bag. My entire idea is ruined. Thanks, Flex. I thought we could just open an entire new business avenue of bakery and like catering, but yeah, no, you've got to put them.
Well, anyway, this tech is
another entrepreneurial idea.
Yeah. Either way, this is crazy useful stuff. At very least, you might just be cornering the market on these things in a way that the Alliance can get real upset about, and I'm all on that shit. I cannot fucking wait. So, what else can I do for you?
We pivot just 1 second.
Yeah.
They're like pre-sliced fruit. You can slice the fruit without slicing the peel.
I love this.
And then
I gotta feel, because I thought that, because mostly like bananas or potatoes, right? But you gotta feel like the peel and the banana has a very similar frequency.
Similar, but
thin.
especially with a banana, similar but definitely different. That like the composition of the meat of the fruit of the banana is way different than the peel.
And then you've got the same problem. Why would I want a sliced up banana inside if the peel is in the way?
You guys are giving me so much life because this is the kind of conversations that I had with myself when I was making this tech for like literally the past 10 years, and this is the first of those conversations happening outside of my head, and I'm so fucking vindicated.
The only time
Thank you.
This is useful is if you can open the outer layer without, like, in the first place.
Right. Well, I'm thinking for parents. If you want your kid to be able to put sliced banana on their cereal, but you don't want them wielding a sharp knife, you can get it pre-sliced. The kid just peels the thing open, and there are banana slices. There are.
I think what we've created here is the orange because that comes pre-sliced with a peel around it.
Yeah, but I'm not putting orange slices on my cereal.
Now, I'm also going to say this. I'm going to pop in here because I love this conversation and I want this to continue, and we need to have this conversation in length. Mechanically, I do want to let you know how this works. This is the sharp keyword, is what he's describing, more or less.
Okay.
The sharp keyword works like this. If I hit someone with a melee attack or with a weapon that has the sharp keyword and it crits, it completely ignores all armor they have on them. Their armor value becomes effectively 0. True damage. Furthermore, if they're wearing an ablative armor field, it ignores the toughness of that ablative armor field, effectively reducing it to 0. So whatever their die roll is, that's how much damage they do to that field. So and that literally will spill over from that energy shield onto the natural armor. That's how effective it is. So Klaxon, when I was rolling crits against you, it meant that I was disregarding your toughness value and adding a fuckload more damage. If you're on foot, and I hit you with a frequency blade, and you're wearing nothing, it's just a knife. But the more armor you wear, the harder it'll fuck you up once it crits. Furthermore, after it crits, if it's a melee weapon, if you keep hitting the same target, it will count as a crit for the purpose of sharp. So it will continue to ignore your armor until you're dead. Or until you swing it against another target, at which point it resets its frequency and the whole thing needs to start again. So, yeah, that's what sharp does. Sharp just turns off your armor if you get lucky.
Could this, I'm asking the guy whose name is
Cogsworth.
What's his name? Cogsworth. Could this be used as like a throwing weapon or like a projectile, or is it only melee?
No, there are some instances of frequency weapons at range. They're very rare, but there's this one weapon, a wire rifle. Some psycho wanted to have a way of killing someone from like a quarter-kilometer away, but the guy was a warlord, loved wearing hard suits. So he basically developed a method of tracking someone at extreme range and using a laser determining their molecular frequency. They then just fired a wire using a magnetic field. Super thin, monomolecular, literally manufactured by the gun. It worked really well. The guy was mid-speech and then suddenly not. And everyone wondered what the hell happened because his hard suit was fine. They opened it up and he was cut in half. It's really effective, but it's really esoteric tech. It's possible. It just requires
I do apologize.
application.
Paul doesn't know what the word esoteric means.
We use this term all the time in our organizing community called the jargon giraffe. Whenever it's like, I don't know what that word means. Jargon giraffe.
Yeah.
Well known.
Yeah, esoteric, not well known, kind of rare. So,
Okay.
so it's a rare tech, but it exists.
It is possible. I am getting a bit tired of every cool idea I have being told that, yeah, a crazy warlord did it once. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, it's a good idea. Is it possible to recreate this weapon for like a friend or something?
You know, you can't just admit, Louis, you want the thing. Like,
Okay,
I'm an
really
arms
want to
dealer.
think.
I'm okay with that.
At the risk of sounding like a warlord, yeah, that sounds really cool.
I can look into it. It'll take quite a while to figure out. I genuinely don't know who would have those plans, but we could look on it, or you could see if we can research it on site. If we had like an actual, if I wasn't operating out of your ship's garage, this would be a lot fucking easier.
We have good news of that. You're about to be operating out of our base's garage instead. We are making progress on getting a base, and once that happens, you'll have more. He looks around at all the storage space and like, you'll have some storage space.
So we're finally talking real estate. Fuck yeah! I've been waiting for this conversation. Give me a minute. I hope you don't mind. I've been looking up some real estate locations, looking up some nice planets, a couple of different ideas for you. I've been just eyeballing some things. And he's like slowly walking back towards the igloo and just sort of shuffle, and pulls out a hollow, this hollow pad and walks over. Okay, so I've narrowed it down to about four possible candidates that you might be interested in.
You've been right moving.
Spacezillo.
So, here's the deal. Basically, your real choices are going to come down to, do you want a planetary base or do you want an orbital base? Because if you got an orbital base, you can move it. If you got a planetary base, you're kind of stuck there. But you don't have to worry about having to actually physically expand the structure to get more room. Because, there's, a million fucking asteroids and planets and, planetoids that no one gives a shit about. But, pretty much, open real estate is free real estate! So, yeah, we can do that, more or less. So what do you want? Do you want to be able to move and be secret and hide out in asteroid belts? Or, theoretically, you could slap a you could slap a spaceport drive on that thing and teleport around the galaxy. What do you want? Orbital or planet? Because I've got options for both.
I'll be honest with you, Cosworth, I wasn't expecting this many options, and we've limited ourselves to 2. Can we get back to you? Can I talk to people? Because I feel like if I make this decision on my own, it will be the wrong one. I have an opinion, but I'm kind of still focusing on the laser anti-armor gun that I was thinking about, and I didn't actually come down here to discuss real estate with you. I was hoping we could make some modifications on mech. We'll get back to the real estate. It's okay.
What if you found the right size asteroid and hollowed it out?
I'm gonna be real with you guys. Get back to me on this shit soon, okay? Get your crew together, whatever. But every day I operate out of here, your crew is fantastic. They're wonderful. I love them, and I'm too antisocial to be around them too much longer. So please, for the love of fucking God, get back to me.
I'm all about relocation, okay?
Perfect.
Space in the sun, the whole shebang, okay? But it's got to be a group decision, okay? It can't just be mine.
And get the group when you're ready, buddy. I'm ready to have this convo.
We've got a WhatsApp group already. I'll just send them a message. It'd be great. Calcifer, please send everyone a message.
And at this point, Calcifer pops up Calcifer pops up. Of course, I can certainly do that for you right now.
Thank you. There, see? Wheels are
salesman.
turning, okay? We're making progress. I'm about Meki.
Right, we can do that. So, okay, fine. And he literally, tosses the hollow pad over his shoulder on top of a pile. Right, so, what do you want? I can manage your back. At this point, all of you guys, by the way, across the ship, all get a ping from Calcifer. Your presence is requested in the engineering bay to discuss matters of real estate.
He just looks at it like spam.
Real estate? Now? What?
So yeah. At this point, I figure we could probably boil it down to, so what is it you, Paul, actually out of character want for Meki?
So, I did want to know the monetary value, but, because I've now found the right page. There's on-stealth module mounting, which I understand means I get stealth for Meki, but I don't know what that looks like.
Right.
And also, supplemental armor plating.
Right. Okay, hang on.
This is on page 83.
You're amazing, thank you. Alright, cool. So page 83, I'm just scrolling down to that shit. Here we go. Okay, cool. So, those are all for hard suits, not for your mech.
Is my mech not her hard suit? What is my mech?
your mech is that would actually be like the construct armory and stuff, and the weapon systems there. Those are down to like page 97 and 99 and that kind of thing. But we can actually work on expanding your armor systems and stuff. So, namely, did you want an ablative energy shield? Because we can do that, or we can actually increase the toughness of your mech. Both of these are possibilities.
Increasing the toughness, I think, is a good shout.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna bust this out. I'm actually busting out the old Legacy rules for this one, because that's what we're operating under. This is Legacy Mark II, everybody. This is literally one edition away from what I used to call it High Caliber. So, let me just open this shit up and, yeah.
Can I just double check? On my mech's character sheet, I don't see the word toughness. Has it changed names?
No, it is not called toughness on you guys. The term that you would use for that is actually armor, specifically.
Right.
So, what it effectively does the same thing as toughness for your mech, for all intents. So, we open this bad boy up. That's right. You called you called your lander Brock. I forgot about that. I was trying to remember the name of it earlier. I'm like, oh, it's Brock. That's right. My mind just needs to remember tomatoes. It's his donuts. He loves his donuts. Okay, so because kids couldn't imagine a world with fucking rice balls in it for kids. Anyway, so yeah, it's your armor value. So you'd be increasing that, which is just your damage reduction, effectively.
Right. Okay. Cool. By how much?
Okay, so you're able to increase your armor value by 5 increments of 5.
Right.
So actually, hold on. Let me just check on this. As I just recently made the mod system, and this actually vaguely applies to the mod system. Okay, cool. So this would go under custom munitions. There we go. Armor penetration. So armor penetration increases by 2. So in this case, we'll be actually increasing it in intervals of 2. So you go to armor 12, armor 14, armor 16, 18, 20. So basically the cost for all that, it's going to start at 1,000 current for the boosting it by 2.
Okay.
And then double it for each step above.
Understand. Okay, that's fine. Can I just improve it by 4 then, which I believe is 3,000?
That is correct. Yes, you absolutely can.
Math. I have that much money, so that's really convenient.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free. Please make a note of that inside of both your character sheet and do me a favor and on the on the Discord thing.
Yeah.
You're perfect. Thank you. I'm currently in the process of making a proper mech sheet that you can change stats out on instead of these cool handouts.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, that's fair. We can absolutely do that. Was there anything else you wanted from our boy Cogsworth here?
Besides his personality, because he's so great, you just take him in, like, put him in a pocket.
I'm personally good. I don't know if Platson would say him.
Okay. That's fair. There was a shotgun discussion that happened earlier, but...
There was, but I understand... Yes, there was. I have forgotten about that. So we will ignore it now because I have no more money left.
Alright, that works. That makes that easy. Okay.
Very well.
Alright. Well, if you boys need me, I'll be right here. And, please, let me know when you're ready to have the most important discussion of our lives.
Have you been speaking to Becky?
Is there a problem?
No. Yeah. You mean the real estate? Is
there a problem with
whenever you're ready. Cool. Right. Claxton, we gotta go.
And at this point, we're gonna cut away from that scene to our next scene.
I love that Claxton's now going to be checking on, like, we're like, Becky, is your heart okay?
Do you have a heart murmur? Also, can I say how much I'm so glad that finally we got to go back to Cogsworth. And in the future, you guys... I also figure I'll mention that Cogsworth will introduce you guys to weapon modding as soon as you guys bring up that shotgun in the future. So,
Yeah.
alright. So, we're going to cut over from you guys having your conversation in the engineering department to our final conversation of the evening, which is going to be with
a non-conversation.
with Becky and Zenith.
Which is going to be definitely not the most awkward interaction of the evening yet.
Oh, of course not. Perish the thought. So, the two of you find inside of this chamber, the same inside of the same room that
Becky
you
would
found him.
knock and actually call for him first. Like, she would not be rude.
Okay, that's fair. There's a pause and eventually a scintillating sound as the figure of Dylan Ray emerges from the usual spot where he is. I'm gonna expand this a little differently because that turned out weirdy. I need to make a proper token for
You
Dylan
would be
Ray.
nude. You're aware that AI doesn't have genitals, right?
Becky's just kind of like,
That's a
she
failure of
actually misses
imagination.
her. She's just kind of like, why would anyone think that?
Well, you felt the need to knock for entry. It implied that you thought he had a reason to hide something.
Oh no, it's his personal space. I'm being respectful of his space and time.
Fair.
So you thinking genitals is all you?
Yeah, basically.
You're the weird one.
I'm the weird one. You're ascribing personal feelings to an AI, but okay.
I'm very pleased we got that genital sentence explained, because I thought I'd missed something.
Alright, so, as we pop on over... So yes, Dylan Ray scintillates and emerges in front of the two of you as the usual glass sculpture figure that he is. Yes, what can I do for you two?
We have a task if you're up for it.
I am more than willing to accommodate, depending on your task.
She will bring up, like, the schematics, because obviously she disassembled the helmet, so she will actually bring up schematics of the breakdown, and then the frequency that they're trying to tap into.
Well, that's something. I haven't seen something like that in... Wow. It's been nearly 4,000 years.
Do you perceive
A
that
long
full-
time.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yes. Yes, it would be for you, wouldn't it?
Even for me, it is a long time.
I can perceive that. The frequency you're talking about, Becky. Yes.
Oh, she meant perceived time. Like,
Oh, perceived
the
time.
full length of it, like, because we know that he was kind of not in stasis, really, but, like, powered down.
I was in stasis for a significant period of time, but stasis only slows your perception of time down. And for an AI, that means that I perceive time slightly slower than you do. So, for me, it's been something closer to the equivalent of, if I were to calculate it in mortal perception, equivalent to yours, some 45,000 years, or so, give or take.
I'm glad you didn't go crazy.
Sanity is a functional weakness, depending on how it's utilized. So, I disengaged it for a while. It wasn't necessary to my task. Regardless, this is interesting. I haven't heard a war song in some time. Where did you find this?
On some pretty bad guys who almost blew up our ship, maybe, almost, by accident, because, everything else was exploding.
Oh, those ones. Yes, I heard the hullabaloo
Well,
down the
more
hallway.
specifically, less specifically the explosive ones, more specifically the ones trying to infiltrate the ship
Yes, I had heard about that.
unsuccessfully.
Oh, I'm sure they would have failed. You have plenty of security personnel. Besides, I'm not particularly keen on going anywhere against my will.
Do you believe they were trying to retrieve you?
What else of value on the ship is there?
True. I've not perceived much more value than you on here. Bear in mind, she doesn't know about the Cellar Forge. She doesn't know. Nobody's told her.
I thought Orin briefed you, but I guess not.
Orin did brief you on
Okay.
its... Orin did brief you, but I believe he briefed you with the understanding that there's only so many things he's going to tell you before you all brief him.
Oh no,
Or you
so
all
we
brief
just
her,
missed that part.
Yeah. So,
Whoops.
So she's like, yeah, absolutely. There's nothing else here that they would be after. So yeah, of course, yeah, no, they would be after you. Yeah. So like, slightly unaware.
He is pretty fantastic, yeah.
So, what is it you require of me, then, in regards to this thing.
Do I need to make an engineering roll for blueprints?
You will not be able to make them.
Well, no, but I mean like general idea.
You don't need to make an engineering roll.
Okay.
Like, you can just explain to him what it is you want. He's the one who's going to be doing all the engineering. Unless you guys want to spend the next 500 years crunching the numbers.
No, we're good.
There's only one of the two beings here that, like, aside from the AI, that have the time to do that.
And honestly, even an Anazali would find that miserable.
Yeah, even she'd be a bit like, this is gonna be a ball. Like, that's a lot. Like, I'm nearly 3,000 years old, but 500 is still a lot to give up to that.
Yeah.
300.
We need a tap.
A tap.
I would like to know if there's a way to access into the frequency subtly, so that we could perhaps try and infiltrate. See, I did that nicely.
Interesting.
Becky gives her a 2 thumbs up, like, yeah.
So you want me to create a mechanism by which we can track the war song? Or at very least its deployment?
If possible, yes.
Oh, it's most assuredly possible. We used to have to do such things back during the Imperial, but it was rare. After all, why would we track our own frequencies? We're the ones sending them out. But theoretically, the technology could exist.
Excited?
The issue you would run into is space. Your ship simply doesn't possess the capacity to hold such a thing.
We're working on expanding.
Define expanding.
An actual base.
Good.
I think that is when the beep would come through for you guys
Okay,
about the real estate.
Yes.
There's to be a discussion about real estate shortly, so...
Excellent. Well, if that's the case, I can begin drawing up plans. But it will require at very least a starship-level reactor and several 100,000 processor units, roughly equivalent to your starship's drive. So... the price will be, if your modern economy is to be believed, exorbitant.
We can't print it.
I can manufacture this alone. Your matter printers don't possess the capacity to do this. Of course, I can, and I could probably do it relatively quickly. You just wouldn't have anywhere to use it, and I don't think you'd find a floating thing in space particularly helpful. At this point, I'm gonna say above table. Zenith, you're a smart cookie. Make me an intellect roll.
Intellect.
Add whatever the fuck you want to it. I don't care. I'm not even joking.
Okay.
I never get shit like that. Why can't I just add whatever I want to think?
Well, no, because I can look. No, because he also knows that I'm a well-behaved being, and I'm going to look at things that I could add to it.
Trust. That's why.
So,
That explains.
yes.
Yeah,
roll the 12, roll the 6, motherfucker. Okay.
Wow, everyone's dice are really trying their hardest to fuck you all today.
I'm going to use a moat because I would quite like to not roll the 1.
You rolled a 5 on your attribute roll. On your luck die, right?
I know, but
I'm gonna save you a moat. That's more than fucking enough. I was looking for not
Okay,
double
cool.
ones. You're not an idiot.
Okay.
So I'm gonna reach
Thanks.
across out of character and into your character's brain. Why the fuck is he talking about manufacturing something so advanced when they say the ship doesn't possess the capacity?
The dawn.
This is a fucking sand hologram saying that I can make this super advanced technology for you.
Zenith just...
I sense I'm missing a piece of information here that would otherwise be vital to my understanding.
And Becky's just looks at her like... Because she's not thinking about the forge at all, just kind of like, yeah, weren't you looped in kind of thing?
What about this is confusing to you, Zenith? I'm being quite genuine about this. What about my capacity do you not understand?
No, I fully believe your candidness in what you're saying, just the practicality, ability, and
Zenith, I'm going to ask you a very simple thought question, and I hope you follow this line of questions to eventually, I believe, get you where you need to be. Have you considered that I don't make my body out of light, I make it out of silicate? And he literally holds up one of his limbs, and it's like clinking glass. Like thousands of pixels of actual glass. Why do you think I do that? Wouldn't light be more efficient? How do I do that if I'm just a hologram?
And Becky, like, oh, now I get it.
You never told her about my functionality.
I thought she was told before she got here.
I'm not merely an AI. That is not my purpose. I am a keeper. A keeper of this. And he slowly steps back, and his glass disassembles until it forms a perfect ring. And that perfect ring hovers in front of you, and there's a soft whooshing sound as air begins to leave the ship and exit into space, as in front of you is a vista of stars you're completely unfamiliar with.
And Becky will lean over to Zenith and be like, kind of makes you want a space swap, doesn't it?
It's a stellar forge. You haven't seen one of... I don't think you've ever seen one of these things, actually. They were rare even during the Imperial era.
why is this the first I know of this?
I thought Orin told you. Kind of seemed important to brief you before you got here, and like we already established you weren't a spy, so I kind of assumed you were, you know, on the...
But he would have given me this kind of sensitive information outside of the safety of the ship it's contained upon? Lower intelligence than expected.
There's a soft scintillating sound as the gateway closes, and Delon Ray reassembles himself from its silicate ring. Right, so now you know how I plan to build this. Just a matter of making the plans.
That now makes a lot more sense. Yes, it does.
And now you see why I'm precisely serious about the fact that I'm pretty confident I am what they were trying to retrieve. The Forge and I are the same thing.
She looks, honestly, flummoxed, which is not an expression you see upon this person in particular. Like, she is not normally this kind of thrown by something. Like, I wouldn't say she's not only speechless because she's not a chatty gal, but lost for words is not normally her thing. So she's just like...
And then Becky, like, already have, like, gone through this when, like, we discovered the thing. It's just kind of like, did you want to go to movie night tonight? She's talking to Delon Ray, too. Like, and then she'll look back at Zenith, like, looping everybody in, like, yeah?
I'm afraid I'll be quite busy answering your absurdly specific and very interesting request for the next few hours.
Oh, I thought you had to wait until we were established.
Oh, I will need to wait for you to establish yourselves to build this thing. But to...
Planning to take no material.
Precisely. To create such a thing requires the imagination and the capacity of one such as myself. I will be entertained for days of your time working on this thing. I request access to one of those helmets. It will help me to reverse engineer the technology and find the frequency.
Sounds good. Oh no.
What?
It's Studio Ghibli. Like she'll continue with Zenith since she looks like she's looking for something to latch onto.
Okay,
Like,
do you legit pronounce it Ghibli?
Yeah.
Studio what? What's the franchise called?
You killed my wife, Paul. You killed my wife.
I mean, in game, I'm trying to like hook up with her, so it's only fair.
Oh, she's down. She's down for the count. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I will also tell you one final thing. You will want to have a place for me to build this, because the minute that I build it, if it is not concealed or contained, it will be very obvious. This structure will be large, roughly approximately 6 stories of your building measurements by Union standard. We're talking several hundred tons of machinery that will come into being very quickly. The amount of heat and electromagnetic waste will be visible from a great distance if you do not shroud it. So, find me somewhere to build it.
Thank you.
A pleasure as always. Good day, conductors. And there's a little scintillating, like, almost the sound of sand pouring down a hill, and he just fades back until eventually he is a silicate perfect sphere roughly the size of a silver dollar.
Becky's like, I love it when he does that.
I think I need to write to my wife.
Becky will just start going out to get the helmet, like, I have a task.
And I feel like this is where we're going to leave our session today, because we've been going for quite some time. Excellent. So now we have some next steps. And I can't wait to get you guys a little more conversations about how to make your weapons and how to choose a base. And I've got work to do, baby. Let's go. To everyone who's been tuning in and watching, I appreciate you all very much. Again, thank you all so much for being here. Truly, this channel could not succeed without your existence. And I am very lucky to have you all on board. Again, you are more than welcome to please follow, subscribe, like, share, all the good stuff. Smack that like button until it's confused. Whatever you gotta do, I appreciate you. And if you want to support the channel, again, please don't hesitate to go to patreon.com/thelасtomnitect. And that right there is where I fund all of this, because I make no money on YouTube yet, and I probably won't for a while. So any contributions you guys make help me make the TTRPGs and webcomics you all have been enjoying. With that, please go and follow every person here in the chat who has a link. It's all below in the video description. Guys, everyone, thank you as always. And I'll see you out there, Voyagers. Say goodbye, everybody.